from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk. We started out with a bit of rain, but we're just going to mostly see clouds today and a high of 57. More clouds and sun tomorrow, high 77. Then by Thursday, a high of 81. It's 45 out there right now. And the weather is sponsored for you by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are now open for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Enter now at overheaddoorstlouis.com.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, hit it.
Chris Ranji, Amy, Mark Scores. The Chris and Amy Show.
You know who it is.
Also, if you didn't know, this is called the show.
On 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Good morning, everybody. Is it Tuesday already? It is Tuesday. Can't believe it. Honestly, the last 2 weeks, every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday has felt like Friday. I keep coming into the week thinking it's almost over, and it's not. We're just getting started. Glad you're with us today. 314-436-7900. Please join us by calling and texting. Leave us voice messages on the Odyssey app. That app is how you can listen to the show on your phone. Take us wherever you go. Take the station with you, the podcasts. So if you missed anything from this show or maybe yesterday, you want to go back and listen, you can. Full hours, the interviews, whatever you want. It's all there for you or wherever you get your podcasts. And you can leave us voice messages from the Odyssey app. It's pretty cool. You should use it.
Time now for the top of the order. The top 3 stories everyone will be talking about.
We have an NCAA champion. It's not me. Michigan. Michigan defeated UConn last night. The college basketball season is over. And I did not win Major Garrett's friends and family pool.
That's the only thing I care about.
I know.
That's the only thing. So I was
in second last night.
Yeah.
If UConn would have won, damn it.
It might have killed me if you had won that tournament because I was in second place for so long. But alas, Michigan was dominant. Meanwhile, woke up this morning to a rather shocking announcement from President Trump. He warned that, quote, a whole civilization will die tonight.
Ours?
I don't know. Speaking about Iran, of course, his vulgar Easter morning message about Iran and opening the Strait of Hormuz and how he was going to blow up Iran to blow them up back to the Stone Age. At any rate, now he's saying a whole civilization will die tonight. David French of the New York Times joins us at 9:30.
It's also good. We'll talk to Dave Simons at 10, see how comments like that affect the markets and affect you, because they will have some sort of effect. We'll talk to him about it. Also, the Cardinals took the lead last night and they let it slip away.
The Nationals, with a 6-run 8th inning, came all the way back to beat the Cardinals 9-6.
That was a bummer, too. Man, what a bummer. Look, I know I feel like we can drive this point home time after time and every single day that there aren't a whole lot of expectations with this version of the Cardinals, but because they're growing and they're trying to develop and they've got a lot of young players. It's one of the youngest players in baseball or youngest teams in baseball. So, there's going to be a lot of those growing pains here. So I try not to feel dejected after a game like last night, but it's still going to happen throughout the year where they've got a lead and, Jordan Walker puts them on top with a home run and this kid is off to a really nice start. And that is exactly what he needed and what the Cardinals need. And it's like the story is building itself, the story of the game.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, Jordan Walker put him ahead. They put a couple more insurance runs on the board and then the bullpen coughed it up. So it's disappointing, but I try to every time, Amy, just have a little perspective after it happens. And that was a tough one.
Yeah. Well, and it's tough too, because like you said, people didn't necessarily have super high expectations for this team going into the season. But at the same time, there was a question mark. You don't know how good or how bad it's going to be. And to be honest, I think it started it started off better than people expected. They're talking about the baby birds came to play. It was fun to watch these young guys play, and it's fun to watch them hit. And so even though you went from having a question mark and maybe even a cynical attitude towards this season when they start off hot, and it's fun to watch them play, and it's fun to see the offense when it is successful, especially when it comes at, on the bat of Jordan Walker. I feel like it makes the bullpen struggles hurt that much more.
You know what? Bullpens that aren't able to lock it down might be the most frustrating thing that you can have in baseball. It's well, okay. I mean, and they're all pretty close because there is the offense that just can't score runs. Maybe they get guys at second and third and they just can't get the hit. That is frustrating. You load up the bases, you can't get much out of it. Super frustrating. But I still think it is more frustrating to have a bullpen be given the lead late, a 3-run cushion, and they can't hold it. That sucks. I don't think there's anything in baseball more frustrating than that. I mean, you could have a starting pitcher who gives up 5 runs in the first inning. That's frustrating, but it's also kind of like, well, I guess that's that for today, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's the baseball equivalent of like the Blues losing games in the last minute or two of the game because you can taste victory. Yeah.
It's like the Blues game 7.
Yeah.
That 0.2 seconds, whatever. Was it 0.2 seconds where they gave up the lead?
So which one is harder to correct? An offense that's not hitting or a bullpen that is struggling and can't lock down leads?
I mean, generally, it's probably the bullpen because if you don't have enough good hitters in your lineup, you're just not going to score a bunch of runs over the course of a long year. But if you've got a bullpen that is struggling, it's not inconceivable. You could call a guy up and he just, for whatever reason, works for a few months. He just works.
Mm-hmm.
He stabilizes things a bit. Now they're both difficult. You're asking, it's a tough choice that you're giving me.
Yeah. Because
a lot of times if your bullpen is bad by June and your offense is bad by June, it's probably going to stay that way no matter what you do. And maybe you can improve on the margins a little bit, but you're more likely to call up some young guy or to trade for some reliever that helps out your pen than you are to trade for a big bat that suddenly changes your offense.
Mary Lynn texting in early. She says it's their first road trip. Cut them a break.
Oh, I think we are.
Well, I don't think she thinks we're cutting them a big enough break.
Well, Mary Lynn,
I like Mary Lynn
because I think we're doing just fine here.
Ranj wants you to cut him a break.
I mean, they're 5-5 through 10 games. That's okay. It's fine.
So
but if I don't think they're going to finish at 500 or better, I just don't. So if they finish around there, then that's a successful year for me.
So often how you feel about a team in the moment is absolutely contingent on your expectations of where they would be or where they're going to be during a season. And that is why the Blues were such a massive disappointment this year because the expectations were
two different expectations.
High.
Right.
And with this Cardinals team, to me, I have felt on top of the world. Now, they've had a couple of bad losses, but I have felt on top of the world. One, because I'm watching the baseball games, because more baseball than I've ever watched because I am financially invested. $20 a month for the MLB app. Yeah. But 2, watching them win games and watching them win those series against the Mets and against the Rays gave me hope and reminded me how much fun winning is.
Yeah.
When you've gone a while without a winning team, you forget how much fun it is.
So what the Cardinals are doing right now, let's compare them to the Cubs. Okay? Because that's the team most people expected to win the division this year. And they are off to a pretty lousy start. They're 4-6. So they're a game worse than the Cardinals are. All right. And that team is supposed to win a lot. And I just heard, was it Mark DeRosa? I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was him, a former Cub. Everybody knows Mark DeRosa. And he just yesterday said, oh, this team is, this team on paper, they're going to be really, really good. And they're off to this lousy start. Meanwhile, the Cardinals aren't supposed to be anything. And they're 5-5. Still very, very early. And we'll be in the middle of June. And we will look back at this first couple of weeks and forget about it. We'll be like, oh yeah, remember when the Cardinals were 5-5?
Yeah.
I think we're gonna forget all about that. So for me, it's just this season is just about the small victories, and for me, the Jordan Walker playing well, if this continues, is a major victory for the Cardinals.
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay, I know we said that we are talking to David French at 9:30 about the president's comments about blowing Iran up back to the Stone Age, which we'll get his thoughts. He obviously served in the military in addition to being a lawyer. Also, Dave Simons and how that will affect the stock market and prices here. Can I just say this real quick about gas prices?
Yeah.
Last year, went on a hiking trip in the Sierra Nevadas, the Eastern Sierras. So this is, think of Tahoe and driving south. You're on the backside of Yosemite National Park. And we filled up the gas tank a couple times and it was pricey. And you notice it's pricey, which is not a surprise because you're in California and Nevada. We were constantly crossing the state line. And gas is pricey in Colorado too. So I wasn't totally shocked. Well, this right here. So we were in Mono County, California. There's like June Lake. It's kind of on the way to Mammoth Lakes. Mono County in California has the highest average gas prices in the United States. There's one town in Mono County where it is $7.50 a gallon, but the average is $6.72.
Oof.
I just wanted to throw that out there because they were saying, the residents in Mono County keep reading about how expensive gas is and how it's $4 a gallon. And they're like, please.
Man, I wish it was $4 here.
Where is that?
I mean,
Isn't
by
that
me,
wild? That's UK prices.
It is. And by me, the gas station closest to where I live, it's up $1 over, maybe $1.10 even, just over 4 weeks. That's a huge increase.
Yep.
It's very, very big. That's Amy Marks Cores. I'm Chris Ranji. As she said, David French will join the show at 9:30. And the NCAA tournament is over. Michigan has won the title, but there is still another title yet to be decided. It is our Barch Madness Tournament. It is ongoing. We're going to give the people one more day to vote. We'll have results tomorrow. We'll tell you who's in the championship next on KMOX.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here. I want to tell you about Burn Balance Complex. It's the latest tool available at Supplement Superstores to get you moving down the path you want to when it comes to being in great shape. This is not a fat burner. It is a complete metabolism system. It's Burn Balance Edge for the guys, Burn Balance Zen for the ladies. So make sure you ask for the right one when you go in. But what this does is makes your body work the right way. So what I've noticed in a short amount of time so far, metabolism is great. I mean, you're starting to feel, in fact, I can feel it. Shirts are fitting a little looser. The belt pulls a little tighter. And on top of that metabolism boost, you're also getting some reductions in stress and cortisol levels. You're getting appetite control, craving control throughout the day, all day focused energy with no jitters and crash. And look, it isn't magic. You need to do the work. But I'll tell you this, it's a good assistant. It helps a lot to make the right decisions. So if you want long-lasting results, go to Supplement Superstores. Tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They'll knock 30% off the Burn Balance Complex, and you can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
The NFL offseason is here, but the action never stops. The draft is right around the corner, and Heed the Call NFL podcast with Dan Hanzus and Mark Sessler is your pro football destination. Prospects, team needs, and pick-by-pick coverage of draft weekend.
Heed the Call covers all things NFL, and we have fun. No fake hot takes or boring data dumps here. Just entertaining football talk from your favorite buds at the bar.
So come hang out with the Heed the Call heroes for football news, analysis, and mirth. All the mirth. Follow and listen to the Heed the Call NFL podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents, so when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
I'm fixing to tell you something that the insurance industry does not want you to ever hear. Bullies often delay and deny. I see them sitting on premiums paid and making money and dragging it out for as long as they can. Many times, we're forced to take them to court. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Their high-paid lobbyists are on a mission to make sure that at trial, jurors are not allowed to learn that the at-fault party has insurance, and in some cases, lots of it. I can think of no case in all my years where there was no insurance for the at-fault party. So let's fight back. It's all these bullies understand. Tell everybody you know the truth. If you've been injured in a car crash or hurt at a store or business, visit forthepeople.com. We're here 24/7. It's that easy. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Giddy up! It's the Cardinal Cowboy. Is your garage door past its prime? Get a free repair or replacement quote from Renner Garage Door. Renner is America's oldest family-owned garage door company that serves both wholesale and retail markets. Right now, get $100 off a new garage door when you mention this ad. With trusted brands like Delden, Amar, LiftMaster, you know it's built to win. Renters also hire experienced techs and installers. RennerDoorSTL.com. Forward and back.
RENNER, RENNER.
Ready to hit a home run with your backyard? Call Artistic Decks. We're celebrating 25 years of A-plus service with massive rollback pricing. Get a professional custom-built deck for less. Hit it out of the park with Artistic Decks. Call 314-280-0821 today.
Proudly serving St. Louis for over 100 years. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
We're down to it, baby. We are all the way to the final. And even though the college basketball tournament is over, we're going to draw this thing out a little bit longer. We just wanted you, the listener, to have some time to vote. You need to be following us on Twitter at Chris Amy KMOX, and there you will find the championship game, the championship match of what you have decided so far to be the two best bars in the St. Louis area. And we are down to two. It is O.B. Clark's, which was a 1 seed in the Anton Griesedick region, after beating Sasha's Wine Bar, Golden Hoosier, Village Bar, Broadway Oyster Bar, and Amsterdam Tavern. They now play against McGurk's, the winner of the Eberhard-Anheuser region. McGurk's along the way defeating Trainwreck and Rock Hill, Nick's Pub, Seamus McDaniels, Helen Fitzgerald's, and Humphreys to make their way to the championship match. And you can go to at Chris Amy KMOX right now and vote. And I will just tell you that for the time being, it is a close matchup.
People need
it's actually
to vote.
It's going to be maybe, arguably, one of our closest ones, if not the closest.
I know.
matchup.
And the Blues, once again, the St. Louis Blues have stepped up for the hockey bar, and they've retweeted the Barch Madness bracket with the final vote.
They did.
So if you are an Irish band, maybe you should retweet.
You play
McGurk's.
Irish folk music.
If you play Irish folk music, if you are a Soulard native, maybe you want to stand up for your neighborhood.
Yeah.
You need to retweet this. Guys, this is a battle of two titans. Now, with Amsterdam Tavern, this was in the previous round, the Frosty Four. When Amsterdam Tavern and O.B. Clark's went up against each other, it was easy to say, hey, this is the hockey bar versus the soccer bar.
Right.
But now this is the hockey bar versus the Irish music bar.
What is O.B. Clark?
It's Irish.
Yeah, okay.
So we've established that the Irish pretty much own the bar scene.
Okay.
Which is not a shock.
I mean,
that was probably pre-established.
I kind of get it.
But you know what? You have to be able to replicate these things, and I feel like we did. Is Humphreys Irish?
Humphreys
Fitzgerald is
Humphreys
Irish.
has to be like an Irish.
I think so.
Helen Fitzgerald,
yeah.
definitely.
Tam Ave, probably.
No.
No?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's in
think it is.
Dogtown. Dogtown, that's where the Irish parade is. The St. Patrick's Day parade.
Yeah. I think the Irish dominated the inebriate.
They really did. I like a good Irish pub. Big fan.
Yeah.
Just I like the environment, the atmosphere.
So at Chris Amy, KMOX on Twitter, you have to vote. And here's the thing, because I'm not sure if a few people are confused or if they're also chiming in, because here's what I'm seeing occasionally. You vote by clicking on the poll. There's a poll for McGurk's or Obie Clark's, but some people are commenting, I vote Obie Clark's, or please vote McGurk's for me, but you have to vote. Commenting is not a vote.
There is actually a poll that you just press a button and you vote.
See, this one.
That's why you have to go to Twitter.
John, he's obviously on Twitter because he commented. He said, please give McGurk's a vote.
See, he's
much appreciated. Now,
John is lobbying.
Do you think he's lobbying for people, or do you think he thought that's how he voted?
I bet he works at McGurk's.
Works at McGurk's?
Mm-hmm. I work at McGurk's.
Yeah. At any rate.
I mean, that bar, it's a very cool bar. The inside is cool. They got the Irish folk music. I think it's almost every night. The outdoor patio beer garden is fantastic. It's one of the great places in St. Louis.
Big Dan says, this is like choosing my favorite child. And
yes.
Dat Zulu, it's his handle, Dat Zulu. He says, why is this so close? It should be McGurk's in a landslide.
And this one, some of these are kind of mean.
I know. Some of them, I didn't read the mean ones.
Well, I will.
Oh, my gosh.
This texter says it's boomers versus zillennials. Why is Obie Clark's the Applebee's of Brentwood even in this tournament? What a mean thing to say about Obie Clark's.
That's mean. Yeah.
Applebee's of Brentwood? It's much nicer than an Applebee's.
So 314 says, how do those of us without social media vote? And you can't.
Yeah, you can't.
You can't. Unfortunately, we have limited resources, and we only put a certain amount of effort into this.
Yeah.
And the Twitter was about the extent of our effort.
Well, we tried.
Listen, last time we didn't do social media, the lady who made the bracket had to leave the state.
That's right.
She moved.
We made a bracket on KMOX.com and directed people there, and there was a problem with it.
There was a problem.
The voting mechanism, there was a problem.
It's what started the Sandwich scandal.
It did. We had a scandal.
And because of that, the woman who was in charge of it no longer works here. She left the state. So we said, you know what? That's it. We're going to stick to Twitter.
Real quick, before I hit the break here, how much would I have won in Major Garrett's pool if I had won it?
Okay, I've been trying to guess, and we should ask him.
Okay, we'll find out.
I bet my guess is $1,000.
We'll ask him Thursday. Anyway, I did not win. If UConn would have won, I would have come in first, but Michigan won, so I fell all the way to 17. It was that big of a discrepancy. When we come back, David French, he's very, very good. We've talked to him a few times on this show. He is a New York Times columnist. We're going to talk about President Trump's comments this morning, and we got a lot of things to get into with him. He has some thoughts on the war in Iran in general. We will do that when we come back on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
St. Louis is a baseball town, and the Gas House Gang talks Cardinals baseball. Ackerman, Ranji, Nicholas, and Claves bring informed opinions and real insight. Smart baseball talk from guys who truly know the game. And every Tuesday at noon, it's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol. Passion, knowledge, the best baseball talk in town. The Gas House Gang, weekdays at noon. We know baseball. KMOX.
All hail Spamalot, the Tony Award-winning best musical comedy that will have you laughing your coconuts off. The Washington Post declares Monty Python's Spamalot is the funniest musical on Broadway. Entertainment Weekly calls it a hilarious fun fest. The Washington Post says it's unfair to laugh this much. Get your tickets now for the musical comedy event of the year, Spamalot, playing the fabulous Fox May 5th through 17th. Tickets at fabulousfox.com.
Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
Cooler today and cloudy, 45 degrees. A high today of 57. Tonight, becoming partly cloudy, a low of 42. Weather sponsored by the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. We're partners committed to you, your business, and your community. From family law to litigation, we're ready to serve. Visit sandbergphoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
In a world in need of a hero, one man rises to the challenge in style. He is...
just driving the kids to soccer practice.
Make every day feel epic in the all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid with up to an EPA-estimated 619 miles of range on select trims, advanced tech, and class-leading interior space. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
And hey, come on, no cleats on the seats.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
Bringing a data center online takes more than equipment. It takes precision. Graybar helps customers predict, stage, schedule, deliver, and verify every step of the build with critical products that are available now. From networking and wireless to critical power and testing tools, our teams help you reduce downtime risk and keep projects on track. Speed, scale, ready now. Yep, Graybar does that.
A century strong. The voice of St. Louis. KMOX.
Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores with you on a Tuesday morning. A lot going on in the world right now, both domestically and globally. So no better time to welcome in David French, New York Times columnist. You also hear him on the Dispatch podcast as well. David, thank you so much for joining us again.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, before we get down to business, I know you are loving the city of Chicago. And my co-host here, Chris Ranji, long time in Chicago, was a White Sox broadcaster and something of a legend up there. So he's a big fan of the city as well.
Still very much.
That's fantastic. Well, we moved into the South Loop area where I've been told emphatically that the White Sox are our only option. We cannot even we can't even look at Wrigley Field. So I'm right there with you.
Let me tell you, my friend, if you're looking for disappointment, then you go right ahead. Enjoy it.
I've been a baseball fan long enough to know that is the case.
Yeah.
All right, David. Well, I guess we're going to make a hard 180 here let's pivot to President Donald Trump, because a rather shocking statement, maybe not surprising, but shocking still, by President Donald Trump that, quote, a whole civilization will die tonight if Tehran doesn't meet his latest deadline for the Islamic Republic to agree to a deal that would include opening the Strait of Hormuz. From a practical, realistic standpoint, what does this exactly mean militarily or geopolitically?
I mean, we don't know. We just know that it's very deeply disturbing because the United States military does not destroy civilizations. It attacks military targets. So there's not. We are not in the civilization destroying business, and we're not at war with the Iranian people. The attack has been on the Iranian regime for the hopeful liberation of the Iranian people. At least that's, what the administration has said from the beginning. And we need to be really clear to Americans right now, and that is that a president does not have the constitutional authority to order American forces to engage in criminal activity, and that would be if you engaged in large-scale bombing of power plants and bridges and civilian infrastructure, and that bombing didn't have a specific military necessity attached to it, say a power plant supplying in the arms industry, or a bridges over which Republican guards or IRGC reinforcements were, say, heading to key locations. Those are circumstances where, you can bomb a bridge to prevent the transit of soldiers. You can bomb a power plant to deprive the regime of military resources. You cannot bomb bridges and power plants and infrastructure to create pain on the population and to create pain on civilians for the purpose of trying to put pressure on a regime. That is not what the law does not permit that. The punitive action designed to create suffering for a population, that's what a war crime is. Bombing a road or a bridge to stop the transit of troops, or bombing a power plant to stop the supply of energy to military resources, that would be acceptable. But this kind of rhetoric is very disturbing because it's not just coming from, any old person or any old world leader. It's coming from one of the very few world leaders who runs a military that actually has the ability to destroy a civilization. Our military is of such strength that it could, in fact, destroy a civilization through the use of our ultimate weapons. And when you hear that it is causing a sense of dread and fear around the world. And so far, it seems to be having zero effect on causing the Iranians to yield. They've reportedly broken off all talks. For example, we're at a very dangerous moment, and we're left with really hoping that our president is just bluffing, which is not, I've rarely been in a position where I've just been sort of praying that our president is bluffing, because I can't even imagine the situation he would put military commanders into, ordering them to engage in the kind of activity that would be carrying out his threat. This is a very disturbing and it's a deeply disturbing moment in our history.
We are talking with David French here on KMOX. Is it possible that people around the world, Iran, my guess is Iran doesn't, or maybe they do. I have no idea how they're looking at those words. Are they seeing it as the bluster you're talking about? Are they taking it seriously? Are they saying, okay, he's off his meds, he's just going to say stuff like that?
Yeah.
What do people around the world really think?
Well, that's a very good question. And the answer is, I think you have different people thinking different things. And that's part of the problem, is that, there are those who take it absolutely seriously. There are those who, and perhaps more seriously than the threat warrants. Then there are those who might be thinking this is all just total, it's just nonsense. It's just a social media post and don't take it seriously enough. But I do think that one thing that's very important for people to know about this Iranian regime is the last 47 years of history have taught us that they do not care how much their people suffer. When the Iran-Iraq war kicked off, the Iranians used teenagers, children, I'm talking young teenagers, ran them through minefields to clear Iraqi minefields. I mean, we're talking about a regime that took, upwards of around 1 million casualties in this Iran-Iraq war. They were willing to sacrifice their people to a degree that we can't really comprehend. And so, this is a situation where it's a very evil regime. And it not only is willing to suffer a lot, it is willing to cause its own people to suffer a lot. And this is not like dealing with, say, a South American strongman who might be more in it for the money and the power. Here we're dealing with people, a religious movement as well as a national leadership. And as we all know, religious movements are not as easily swayed by threats and bluster if they sort of have this apocalyptic vision. And so if you're dealing with a fundamentalist theocracy facing, this American president, this fundamentalist theocracy is willing to absorb profound damage without yielding. And so this is, again, one of the reasons why all of this should have been brought to the American people first. It should have been brought to Congress first, because now we are in this very grave situation, and that the people that was not voted on by the people's elected representatives as the Constitution intended. And so people are very confused as to how we got here, understandably.
David, you were a JAG officer, also an Iraq war veteran, and you mentioned that the president's rhetoric could put, some of the commanders in the military in a tough position. And so how do you reconcile the bloviating of the president on Truth Social with the military excellence of the U.S. military, and when that actually might come to an irreconcilable position?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that question. And I just have answers for you that are deeply unsatisfactory because we've never really put our military in that position, at least not in the modern era. So in the modern era, the military and the presidents have been on the same page on complying with the laws of war. What happens if the commander in chief himself orders, let's say, the bombing of a completely civilian bridge that is covered? Iranians are performing human chains on their bridges now. They're putting in. So what if you have a completely a bridge used only for civilian purposes, covered with innocent civilians, and you say you need to bomb that bridge? This could, there's precedent. There's a legal precedent that if an officer is given a clearly illegal order, they're required to disobey it. And now, typically, when you've been required to disobey an illegal order, you have somewhere up the chain to appeal to say, for example, my colonel told me to do this, or my platoon leader told me to do this. But there's nobody above the president of the United States of America to appeal to other than Congress. And Congress, as we know, is not going to do anything. So, in this situation, Congress's inaction is it's a betrayal of trust with our own members of the military, because they have to have somebody who complies with the law, a branch of government that complies with the law to appeal to if they are being ordered to do something illegal. I mean, this is why I feel like we have to just be praying that he's bluffing, because it's very hard to see as a practical matter, what is the recourse here? Suppose people do flatly refuse to fly a mission. What happens then? Are we going to see purges within the military? It's a very uncertain moment right now.
So, David, that's where I was going to go with this, because Pete Hegseth has taken some criticism in the last several days because he's purged a bunch of high-ranking officers from all over. And, and it's seemingly without any good reasoning for doing it. So you juxtapose that up against everything you're talking about. Where do we stand now then?
Well, that makes it even more dangerous, because the message is being sent very loudly and clearly throughout the services that if you're not completely on board, or if the secretary believes you might not be on board, or for whatever reason the secretary wishes, because again, firings are not being explained, that you are in perhaps the most tenuous position, if you're a general officer, that you've been in your whole career, because you're subject to immediate termination without explanation from a very mercurial Secretary of Defense. And so it creates this sort of atmosphere of fear and uncertainty. And so it makes it even less likely that leaders will stand up to an unlawful order, because for more than a year, they've been told it's my way or the highway, and many of the best leaders in the military have just been promptly fired. Some of the highest character leaders in the military have been fired without explanation. And so it creates that sense of instability within the force. And, so the force is being sort of hollowed out in a moral sense at the same time that it's being placed under intense moral pressure. And so this is, as I said, this is a situation I've never seen before. And it's one of those where I really do hope in 48, 72 hours, people are looking back and saying, everyone was worried for no reason. This was social media bluster. This wasn't real. But, we're in the middle of a shooting war. And when the commander in chief issues grave threats, it's irresponsible just to wave it off as a social media post. This is the commander in chief. This is the most powerful person in the world in the middle of a shooting war. And his words are having an effect because Iran is breaking off all negotiations with us.
David, let's say we didn't see the tweet this morning, up until the tweet or the Truth Social post, it didn't exist yet. Up until that point, was the U.S. winning this conflict in Iran?
Well, that's a great question because the answer is, in many ways, no one was winning yet. On the one hand, we were accomplishing our primary objective, which was to degrade their missile stocks, their nuclear program, kill a lot of their leaders. So in other words, we were accomplishing a lot militarily to degrade the power of the Iranian regime. But at the same time, the Iranian regime was accomplishing its primary defensive objective, which is closing the strait. And so that creates a kind of stalemate in which we're inflicting damage on them, but at the same time, they're putting pressure on us. And so, there's sort of a question at the end of the day. We literally, we're in the middle of a conflict whose outcome is completely unknown because both sides are accomplishing many of their objectives, and neither side has been able to stop the other one from doing, sort of accomplishing their primary strategy in the war. And so it's a very strange war in that way. And normally when you just knock out an enemy's military with ease from the air, or with relative ease from the air compared to previous conflicts, you would say it's going great. But if you're choking off supply of 20% of the world's oil reserves and a third of the national gas, and allowing tankers through at your own initiative to the tune of billions of dollars in profit to the regime we're bombing, then they're accomplishing a lot of their objectives as well. So the war was very much up in the air before he issued this threat.
Lastly, from me, now that we are in this thing here, how does this play politically? Because he ran on not starting wars. This is raising costs for people here. This, for a lot of folks, doesn't seem like a necessary thing. A lot of people wondering what are we doing and why are we doing this? And so is there a political cost here, a real legitimate one for anybody?
Yeah, I really do think so. This is something where, as I've said before, when the war started, this is a conflict with an evil regime. I don't think anyone should sugarcoat this regime at all. It is an evil regime that's been an enemy of the United States for a long time. And if you think you can accomplish something concrete against this enemy, that's why you go to Congress, you explain your objective, you get the American people rallied behind you. When Bush went into Iraq, as controversial as that was, he had the approval of Congress and about 70% of the American people, a very different situation. And here, when Trump went in, he did not get any congressional support. He did not prepare the American people. He barely mentioned it in the State of the Union before the war. And, it's not surprising that some polls put support for the war at around 35%. And that's a circumstance where it's very difficult for the democracy to wage a war effectively when the majority of the people don't support it. So even if you believe the Iranian regime is evil, as I do, and it's been an enemy of the United States, as I do, that still doesn't mean you get to circumvent the constitutional processes. And when you don't follow that constitutional process, it takes away support from the war. And when you don't have the public support, it's going to weaken the president at home, abroad. There are very many miscalculations here.
That is David French, New York Times columnist. You can catch him occasionally on the Dispatch podcast, the Advisory Opinions podcast as well. David, we could talk about a million different things with you, so thank you so much for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Well, you're very welcome. Thank you so much.
He's a friend of the show now.
Friend of the show now.
David French. Can't get rid of that title.
That's right.
Once you're in, baby.
That is David French again, New York Times columnist. That's Chris Ranji. I'm Amy Mark Scores. Did you see this? Is next.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is, who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
Get ready to laugh out loud, St. Louis. The outrageous Broadway hit Spam-A-Lot is riding into the fabulous Fox Theater May 5th through the 17th. From the twisted minds of Monty Python, this Tony Award-winning musical brings you killer rabbits, dancing knights, and non-stop hilarity. It's the legend of King Arthur like you've never seen it before. More information can be found at KMOX.com/events.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/groundadvantage to learn more.
It's Deck Days at Lowe's, and the savings are stacked. Right now, pros get 15% off all in-stock composite decking from top brands like Trex, TimberTech, and Decorators. Plus, get a free DeWalt 20-volt max 5-amp-hour battery when you buy a select DeWalt tool. The deck's stacked in your favor with brands pros trust. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 4/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-909-9696. 800-909-9696.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Nor Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
Straight Realty has always been an industry leader when it comes to commissions, so it should come as no surprise that the recent Realtor settlement has only empowered us to continue offering our sellers even better rates. We now list homes for only 2%. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Call me. 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Tonight, the Cards, the Nationals.
Cameron Total Access 450. First pitch 545.
Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM, KMOX. Now, did you see this? With Chris and Amy.
All right, so you watched the basketball game last night.
I watched it.
You watched it. You know this song, right?
Oh my God. Yep, and I have a feeling about this song. One shining star, one shining moment.
One shining moment.
Yeah.
So before you get to your feeling about this song, I will say this. Leslie Ann Wade posted on Twitter, my claim to fame? I asked Luther Vandross to sing One Shining Moment for CBS. In return, he asked for 2 tickets to Hairspray on Broadway. It was recorded in one take at the Hit Factory in New York City. She worked at one time like marketing for CBS Sports. Yeah, for 2 tickets to Hairspray on Broadway.
And that's it. That's all he got for it.
Well, that's all he asked for it.
Here's what I'll say about the song. I have no problem with Luther. I think he's great.
He's great.
I think One Shining Moment is so painfully overrated.
Because it's cheesy. It's cheesier than a Green Bay Packers fan.
My college basketball friends like, oh, I can't wait for One Shining Moment. I can't. Oh, it's the best. Like,
really?
It's stupid. I hate it. I just hate it.
It sounds
like you know what it sounds like? It sounds like an 80s sitcom, the start.
Yes.
It sounds like the opening credits.
And you can see the actors turning towards the camera and smiling while it's playing in the background.
It's not good.
It's the cheesiest song ever.
It does literally nothing for me.
It does something for you. It makes you a little crabby.
Right. It does. It does. You're right. It makes me crabby. You know what'll make me happy, though, if people vote in our Barch Madness tournament, because the championship match is happening right now. It is Obie Clark's taking on McGurk's for the best bar in St. Louis. And guys, before you get mad about them, these are the bars you voted on. The listeners
have
voted.
No one to blame but yourself.
That's correct.
Yes.
So you have about a day, maybe a little less than 24 hours to vote at Chris Amy KMOX. Go and find us on Twitter. Vote for McGurk's or Obie Clark's. You can't vote for them both. Our Barch Madness tournament will be over tomorrow morning. We were just talking about the president's comments this morning on Truth Social. How is that going to affect the markets, and how's that going to affect your money? You might want to stick around. Dave Simons, partner and managing director of One Private Wealth, is next on KMOX.
Inflation is squeezing budgets, and global events can shake markets overnight. If you're close to retirement, you don't get unlimited do-overs. So this is not the time for, I hope it works out. That's why Steve All and the team at the All Financial Group are hosting an upcoming educational seminar called Retirement Simplified, April 14th and 16th at Bartolino's Twin Oaks. You'll learn how rising costs could drain your spending power, how political and economic headlines can impact your returns, dealing with issues like taxes, outliving your money, and long-term care. Find out if your retirement strategy is truly stress-tested for today's economy. 636-230-8824 or at yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, or Registered Investment Advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions. The All Financial Group is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the U.S. government or any other government agency.
The smartest way to do your homework is Hackman Lumber.
Thinking about building a new deck? Start with the deck experts at Hackman Lumber, home of one of the largest inventories of decking materials and accessories in Missouri. From treated lumber and cedar to all the leading names in decking, their experts will help you choose the perfect materials for your dream deck. Then finish it off with endless railing options, balusters, and LED deck lighting to bring your backyard to life. Hackman Lumber will not be undersold on in-stock decking materials, guaranteed. Do it yourself? Their team is ready with expert advice. Need help from a pro? They can connect you with trusted local contractors.
Also, check out their expanding paint department with custom color matching. And don't forget, follow Hackman Lumber on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok to catch weekly deal specials and project inspiration all season long. Or visit us at hackmanstl.com. Locations in St. Peters, Troy, and Pacific, Missouri.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce, pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
It is 10 o'clock. It is partly sunny, 47 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey, and President Trump intensifying his threats against Iran, posting on Truth Social that a whole civilization will die tonight unless a deal is struck to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Here's CBS's Nancy Cordes.
Clearly, what he's trying to do in plain terms is to put pressure on the Iranians, try to force them to cut a deal before the deadline he has put in place for 8 o'clock Eastern time tonight. He was already ramping up the rhetoric yesterday, laying out that he was going to start bombing at midnight, power plants, bridges. He has walked back threats like this with a deadline before. In this case, he is not walking it back.
Iran's official state news agency posting a short video on social media showing what it said was a human chain in front of the Kazarun combined cycle power plant, showing hundreds of people who had answered the call by the government for civilians to act as human shields from Trump bombs. The Madison County Sheriff's Office says the Illinois Secretary of State bomb squad will be conducting controlled detonations of several devices found on the West Kirsch Road property outside of Troy, Missouri, that exploded 2 days ago. It'll be done at two separate locations southeast of Troy, so expect to see a number of emergency vehicles. It's Election Day in Missouri. There are contested races, including school board contests, a referendum at stake, several counties voting on a property tax freeze, as well as an additional sales tax to benefit fire and EMS. City of St. Louis voters will decide whether to extend the earnings tax. Polls are open tonight until 7. It's not a tax question on the ballot today, but it will be in November. Whether to eliminate the Missouri state income tax. It's been the pet project of Governor Mike Kehoe, who says it'll make Missouri more competitive. However, the business community isn't lining up in support.
It's because it's not really a tax cut. The plan is to be revenue neutral, meaning that you won't actually get a cut in taxes, and eventually the income tax would be replaced by a larger, broader sales tax.
Dave Drebus with the Missouri Scout says it is really a tax shift. From the KMOX business desk, the Cambridge Heights apartment complex just north of downtown St. Louis is owned by the St. Louis Housing Authority, but its operator has defaulted on millions of dollars in debt and let the property deteriorate, according to a motion filed by the Missouri Housing Development Commission, which is asking a St. Louis judge for a receiver to be appointed. According to the Business Journal, dozens of units in the Cambridge Heights apartment complex in Columbus Square have mold infestations, widespread vacancies, and vandalism throughout the complex.
A few sprinkles around through midday, otherwise clouds and breaks of sun, and quite cool this afternoon, high 57, partly to mostly cloudy tonight, low 43. Tomorrow becoming breezy and warmer with more clouds and sun, high 78. Thursday, intervals of clouds and sun and warm, high 81. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is partly sunny and 47 degrees in downtown St. Louis. The weather sponsored by Financial and Tax Strategies. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
If your retirement plan is mostly what if and a little fingers crossed, you deserve better answers than that. Check out Wealth and Wisdom Saturdays at 7 a.m. here on KMOX. I'm Gary Goldberg. Call 800-966-1690.
The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's hour 2 of 3 of the Chris and Amy Show every day, 9 to noon, weekday. We're not doing these weekends. Come on, we're not crazy. And we love to talk to Dave Simons, partner and managing director of One Private Wealth, who joins us now on KMOX. Dave, good morning.
Good morning, Chris and Amy. How are you two?
We are doing just fine. So the president earlier today started a Truth Social post, as many people have heard. And if you have not heard, he started the post with "A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again." And he is talking about total regime change in Iran. The war has already started there. But when the president speaks, we know that markets can fluctuate. So how is a statement like that, and then subsequently waiting to see what happens tonight, how is that going to affect the markets?
Well, so I've really been trying to handicap this the last couple of days. Yesterday, the market was actually up a little bit. Here, despite that kind of hyperbolic rhetoric, you would think that the market would be down quite a bit more. But if that line had come from anybody else, any other president, or even at the beginning of Donald Trump's first term, you would probably see a market that is acting with a lot more downside pressure. So I think the fact that we're only down less than 1%, despite that rhetoric, I think you got two opinions here, Chris, in the market. One is a lot of traders are going, well, this is typical Donald Trump. This is how he gets on Truth Social in the wee hours of the morning, and we've learned to not take him literally. Okay, that's fair. That's one opinion. And the other is the complete opposite of that, the very extreme, to say, no, this is real. Iran has cut off now all direct communication, as we're now learning, and this could really happen. If it does, and the bombs go in, and the fighter planes, and the Navy, and we get, I don't know, is it boots on the ground? Who knows? And we decimate that country. Is it then over? I think the in-between is some elongated war that lasts for many months. The Strait of Hormuz stays somewhat closed. That's what the market doesn't want. So I think that's where we are right now, guys, is we've got the two extremes. It's not going to be that bad. We'll send in a few fighter jets. We'll take out some bridges and some electronic equipment, and the president can declare victory. Or the other extreme, it really is going to be that bad.
Well, that's the thing. We've talked so much about the president's unpredictability and uncertainty, which markets usually don't like. But my goodness, Iran could be just as unpredictable, right? We don't know what they're going to do.
And that's the thing, is I've tried to handicap this because, look, this isn't taking political sides. I think it doesn't matter what side of the ideological aisle you reside. I think that we can all agree that Donald Trump, any success that he's had in life, particularly as a businessman, has come from the fact that he can bully his way in. I mean, he wrote a book about it. That's nothing new there. And if he doesn't get his way, he's had no problem taking to the court system and threatening lawsuits and trying to bankrupt people until they finally say, "Uncle." Well, you can't do that on the world stage, especially against a regime that, for all we know, is willing, at least the Revolutionary Guard and the mullahs who are still there, are willing to just fight to the death. I mean, they don't feel like they have to negotiate. And what do you do in a situation like that if you've spent your whole life being able to bring people to their knees because of the way that you've done that in life, and it doesn't work anymore? I think that's the scary part of this.
So what would you advise that people do at this very moment? As we should we wait until something happens or doesn't happen tonight? Is that even enough time? What are we doing right now?
That really is the question, isn't it, Chris? I mean, I wish I had an easy answer that would make everybody feel so much better. But it really gets back to what we've been talking about during the last month. And that is, if you're defensive enough and you've made some changes here, which we've talked about, now has not been, and it hasn't been the last month, to take risk added risk and say, I think now's a great time to buy some really high flying growth stocks now. No, if anything, it was a chance to pull back slightly and look at more defensive blue chips, not cashing out or anything like that, but make sure your long-term goals are still intact. And that's what I'm going to rest on. Now, here's the problem with that. If this thing really goes off the rails tonight, and everyone can just start to imagine in their own mind what that means. It really is too late because by the time the markets open, they'll gap down to some degree. But I honestly, I don't mean to scare people because I don't think that's going to happen, even if it is the worst case. Even if we watch this thing unfold in real time tonight and overnight, and all hell is brought down on Iran and it's pushed into complete darkness and people are out of their homes not knowing what to do. Let's just imagine the worst case scenario. I still don't see a stock market that tanks. I don't. And I think that's what some investors are actually betting on, that as bad as a humanitarian situation that we might have, that could bring an end to this in a really horrific way. But Wall Street is cold that way. And maybe that's what it's betting on.
We're looking at the effects of the conflict in Iran, the Strait of Hormuz, and I believe it's 7% of U.S. crude imports goes
That's right.
through the Strait
Yeah.
of Hormuz.
Roughly about 22% of global.
Okay. And we're looking at the U.S. stock markets, but what about Europe? How much do the words of the president affect Europe's economy and reliance on oil that goes through the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, they're really worried right now. They also see the president as very unpredictable. I was reading an article in the Wall Street Journal this morning, and there were some very direct comments from some leaders in some of these countries just saying, we don't feel like we have a good partner in the U.S. anymore because we don't know what to count on. And I'm paraphrasing there. And I can see that. It's going to be a much worse economic situation internationally. And that's why you've seen over the past month, even though our market is only down single digits, a lot of these international markets are down double digits because their economy will be hurt a lot more.
So what about this inflation report we are expecting at the end of the week? And what do you expect to happen here, especially with this conflict going on?
Yeah, this is really interesting because it's going to be the first inflation report we've had since the war started, because the last one we got, things had just started. So they didn't reflect in any of the data that we got out in February, which were released in early March. That inflation report showed a year-over-year increase of 2.4% in inflation, which was pretty good compared to where we were, and it's still incrementally been coming down, not quite to 2% where the Fed wants it, and that last mile is really hard to get, but we were getting there. Well, guess what economists and analysts are expecting for this report on Friday? Not 2.6, not 2.1, 3.4, a full 1% higher than 2.4. And that's got to be all because of the war and the higher gas prices and all that. Now, let's be honest, analysts and economists are routinely wrong about this kind of stuff, and they very well could be wrong. The number could be higher. I don't think so. I think if it's going to be wrong, it might come out on the lower side, and I only say that because a big chunk of the monthly inflation report comes from housing, and we've seen a renewed slowdown there again because mortgage rates have been going up. So it wouldn't surprise me if it's above 3%, and the market may not like that, and the Fed certainly won't. But that's going to be a very interesting report and could drive the bond market in particular in a not so positive direction.
And do you think this report, well, as you kind of mentioned, is really the first one to really give us the fullest picture of the war's effect on gas prices and other things?
That's exactly right. And that's why, honestly, I think that's why economists have just kind of thrown this number and stuck it to the wall and say, well, it was 2.4 last month. We think it could be as much as 3.4. If that's the case, if it really comes at 3.4 or hotter, I don't know, again, that the market will respond that negatively because I think they see this in isolation, that this is a one-off. This is a war that's pushed gas prices higher. And this thing, and maybe, who knows, after tonight, does this whole thing end tomorrow? Is there some negotiated settlement? Let's hope for that. And then, so by then, the Friday report that looks back on March, the Wall Street just shrugs its collective shoulders and says, well, that's a high number, but it doesn't matter anymore. This thing's over. And so we could go back to seeing gains in the stock market again. I think, let's be honest, we're all spitballing here. I mean, we're all going to be smarter 24 hours from now after we see what happens tonight.
So imagining he does, nothing happens, or he says, all right, that's it. It's all over tomorrow. Can you imagine, or would it be likely that the market really takes a huge bump in that case?
To the upside you're talking about, Chris. Yeah, absolutely it could. If I say Trump, but obviously he doesn't do this unilaterally. He's going to have input from the Pentagon, the State Department, the CIA, and all that. But collectively, they decide, okay, look, we're not going to actually bomb them off the face of the earth. All right. That's just rhetoric here to try to get them to come to the negotiating table. But we've got all of these. We've got the best military in the world, which we've seen play out here recently. And we're going to go in. We know our targets. We know where some selected folks are. We're going to get them. We're going to blow up a few bridges, and we're going to do the kind of proper damage that's going to get the world on notice that we mean business. I think the market will like that, because it didn't go to the point where we're, taking out a whole civilization, where then you get into some legal issues, don't you, about genocide? I mean, that's a whole other issue. I am sure when the president posted that had to have caused people within the Pentagon and the State Department, their heads blew off to go, oh my gosh, Mr. President, you're actually publicly talking about genocide. And that's why I don't think that's where it's going. That might be somewhat glib. It might be hopeful, but I don't think that's going to be the worst case scenario that will play out.
Dave, I don't want to anthropomorphize the market here, but when I see how it kind of is just hanging out when all this crazy stuff is happening, what I know is I and a lot of people are almost inured or desensitized to the president's rhetoric, where it's shocking but not surprising, right? We see it and we're like, I don't know, I can't even react anymore. I'm fatigued. Is there any way that the market is somehow desensitized to his rhetoric?
Bingo, Amy. You just nailed it. That's exactly right. And that's why I started off by saying, if he had said this in the beginning, if this were early 2017 playing out, or if this was any other president, the market would be tanking today. But it's not. And so I think that's why they see this is business as usual. This is the way the president negotiates. And it's never going to get to that level of atrocity. Could be wrong, but that's what Wall Street's betting on right now.
All right, Dave Simons, we love talking to you. Thank you for being with us once again.
All right, guys, have a great week. I'm sure we'll sound smarter how this played out next week, right?
Yeah. My goodness. So a million things could happen by then.
Yes.
So we appreciate you, Dave. You're the best.
All right. Thanks, Amy. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
Dave Simons, partner and managing director of One Private Wealth, with us on KMOX. Woof. Well, it says here on my rundown, we're going to talk to Shingles McGee.
Yes,
is that you?
I think so.
Oh, great. Got another Shingles update?
I have a Shingles update, but this one is a vaccine update, and it's positive.
Can't wait to hear it. Next on KMOX.
In 1991, John and Cindy Morelli started Morelli Tuck Pointing. As of today, they've won just about every award possible for the tuck pointing business. The BBB Torch Award, the Next Door Neighborhood Fave Award, and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. For homeowners, this is a great time to get a free inspection of your basement, your brick or stone fireplace, your garage interior, your porch, and maybe even your walkway. Indoor tuck pointing can be started now. Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. My wife Beth and I have used Morelli Tuck Pointing to work on 2 of our homes now over the last 25 years. We have found the Morelli bids to be fair. Their crews are very polite and they clean up after themselves. But most importantly, their work is beautiful. Family owned and operated since 1991. 314-645-1387, MorelliTuckPointing.com.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents, so when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You know, here in St. Louis, word of mouth still matters, and I'm pretty careful about who I recommend, especially when it comes to something as personal as estate planning. I'm Tom Ackerman. My family has been working with the Lederman Law Firm for over 20 years now, and the reason is simple. They don't just create documents and send you on your way. They help make sure your plan works. Because let's be honest, life changes. Family needs and circumstances change. Laws change. But most estate plans don't change over time as needs, circumstances, and laws change. They're outdated, sitting in a drawer. People assume they're fine, and their plan will work when they need it to work. At the Lederman Law Firm, it's not a one-time transaction. It's an ongoing process. They build a plan to protect your family and your assets, and then for a fixed annual fee, they help keep it up to date as both your life and assets change. Check out the Lederman Law Firm at LedermanLaw.com or give them a call at 314-514-9100. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
When you enter a place of business, you're owed a legal duty. That the place of business is safe for you to shop in. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you suffered an injury at a place of business, our duty is to protect you after that harm. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Game day comfort steps up to the plate Saturday, April 11th, when the Cardinals face the Boston Red Sox downtown. That night, fans can score a Cardinals dugout hoodie presented by Mercy, built for cool nights, late innings, and early season baseball. It's a classic, easy-to-wear layer you'll reach for all year long. Available in medium or extra large while supplies last. Don't miss this spring matchup. Get tickets and details at cardinals.com/promotions.
Every Sunday home game is a Kids Sunday at Busch Stadium. From Team Fredbird and games to a kid-friendly DJ, ice cream, and family favorite activities, Sundays are built for young fans. Plus, select Sundays feature kids run the bases after the game. It's a day made for smiles, memories, and Cardinals baseball together. Make Sundays your family tradition at Busch Stadium. Tickets and details at cardinals.com/KidsSunday.
You're listening to 104.1 FM KMOX. Now back to Chris Ranji and Shingles McGee.
I haven't quite been the same since the shingles, and I'm still dealing with fatigue. What has it been, 5 weeks? Anyway, if you had shingles, tell me how long were you tired for? Is this normal? At any rate.
Can I tell you how long I'm tired of hearing about it?
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Anyway, I'm running the marathon on Saturday, so if you think I can be better by then, that would be great. But I actually have good news. Well, the bad news is my doctor said, don't get the vaccine you're too young. I said, well, but I have shingles. It doesn't matter. It's still for people over 50 and over. And I said, okay. So even after I've gotten it, nope, just wait till you're 50. So that's weird. But here's the thing regarding the shingles vaccine. Recent research has shown that older adults who get at least one shingles vaccine have another benefit too. A significantly lower risk of dementia. And also the benefits of the shingles vaccine may also include a lower risk of serious cardiac events for people who already have the disease. This is from the American College of Cardiology's annual scientific session. The study analyzed about 250,000 Americans, so 250,000, with atherosclerotic heart disease. And people with this type of heart disease who received a shingles vaccine had nearly half the rate of serious cardiac events a year later compared with those who did not.
Well, because I am a doctor and a scientist, I can surmise that the vaccine helps with inflammation. Is that what it does?
I would guess so, because shingles is, yes, a type of inflammation.
Yeah.
It's the chickenpox virus.
Because that inflammation does help lead you to heart attack, stroke,
I
that
think
kind of thing.
the greatest scourge on our earth today is inflammation. I feel like everything that's wrong with everybody, 99% of it's inflammation.
It might. It sounds like it.
It kind of is. I mean, whether it's joint pain, your immune system being down, feeling ill, rashes, whatever it may be. I mean, it's all inflammation. And then, so it's kind of interesting, though, that looking at the shingles vaccine, maybe you'll have extra benefits.
What would happen if you just got it?
Got what?
The vaccine.
Well, that's what I know. Because another friend of mine who got, like I said, all the people who got shingles when they were 40, they're coming out of the woodwork, and they also have not gotten the vaccine. I don't know what would happen. I don't think it kills you.
You hope.
Are you 50?
That as soon as you get your driver's license changes, you can get that vaccine.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't know why. Now, you know how everything is a risk reward? The GLP-1s used to be like that. When the GLP-1s first came out, we spoke with a doctor who said, yeah, there are a lot of scary side effects with GLP-1s, and they may not be worth the risk unless you are facing, heart disease, diabetes, morbid obesity, that type of thing. Then it's worth taking a GLP-1. There's a risk reward. I don't know if there is a risk reward with the vaccine, or if they're just finding that if you're younger, you get a less severe case. I don't know. I don't know why.
Well, maybe you should just go in.
Told me.
Maybe you should just go in there and do some
Why don't
sort
you
of.
do it?
I can next year.
You're going to be 50?
I'm 50. Yeah, I'll be 50.
We have to celebrate.
We
You
don't
are
have- we don't have to
exactly
do anything.
twice Matt's age.
Oh, that's cute.
Maybe we should have Matt get the vaccine, see if he lives.
Speaking of Matt, we had a texter who was asking about his romantic escapades
via email.
We're going to get into that later
Yeah,
on.
we are.
We'll get into it next hour. We'll
Matt's
give you an
in love.
update and find out if he has reached out to or harassed the poor CBS News lady that he's in love with.
He fell
We'll
in
let you
love with
know.
her over email. Guys, he didn't even hear her voice.
Yeah.
So Ranj and I were able to do some investigative reporting.
I mean, one
She's-
woman is nice to him and suddenly he's in love.
She's a
You know?
cutie. She told
That's all
him
it
have
takes.
a nice weekend over an email.
I'm like, whoa.
Wow, nice weekend.
Whoa.
Well, someone's a little forward. This guy. She told him to have a nice weekend. He thinks she's hitting on him.
Oh, yeah.
On
I
an
know what
email.
I can read into it.
Like a phone call or a text, but it's an email.
Did you see that she wrote a little smiley face on the receipt?
Yes. Little
And
heart.
she included her fax number.
Guys, I really think the waitress at Hooters likes me.
Oh.
She does.
Speaking of that, are we going to talk to the old battle axe?
Oh, the old I'm gonna tell her you called her that
You called her that.
in private. The old ball and chain. Yeah, we're gonna talk to the old ball and chain when we come back. Reporter for Nationals TV. The Washington Nationals. Cardinals are playing the Nationals tonight. We've got that game right here on KMOX. 4:50 pregame show. 5:45 for the first pitch. It is game 2 of 3 in Washington. And we will talk to their sideline reporter and host, Alexa Dat, when we come back on KMOX.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
St. Louis is a baseball town, and the Gas House Gang talks Cardinals baseball. Ackerman, Ranji, Nicholas, and Claves bring informed opinions and real insight. Smart baseball talk from guys who truly know the game. And every Tuesday at noon, it's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol. Passion, knowledge, the best baseball talk in town. The Gas House Gang, weekdays at noon. We know baseball. KMOX.
I'm Bobber, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
Partly sunny and 47 degrees. We did have some passing showers earlier this morning, but that should be over by now. It'll get up to a high of 57, low overnight of 42. The weather is brought to you by i3 Broadband. Spring is here. Time to toss out that dusty treadmill and your laggy cable internet. Upgrade to 100% in-home fiber from i3 Broadband. Plus, we're sprinting forward with our longest price guarantees ever on our gig speed internet services. No data caps, just pure speed. Visit i3broadband.com/radio and start your spring off right.
Homeowners, I know a lot of you are worried about one thing when it comes to selling, and that's leaving money on the table. Hey, this is Kevin Wheeler. I'm here with Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. So, Gloria, how do you help sellers make sure that they get top dollar?
The reality is, most homes don't sell for what they should. I see it happen all the time. They either price it wrong or they don't create enough demand. But with over 2,400 buyers in my buyers in waiting database and my exclusive pricing strategy, I'm able to offer my seller a 100% market value guarantee. And if I can get you 100% of your home's market value, I'll pay you the difference. So you don't have to wonder if you left money on the table. You can sell with confidence, knowing you maximize your sale.
Make sure you get every dollar for your home. That's why you call St. Louis real estate expert Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888 or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession.
Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight, and we are discussing esophageal cancer with Dr. Raymond Jin.
Curative, that's a complex decision that involves what we call multidisciplinary care. So that involves a surgeon, a medical oncologist, radiation oncologist. So you need the expertise, and that's something that we have here at Siteman, especially geared for these esophageal cancer patients.
Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. Visit siteman.washu.edu. This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Bernie Nicholas and the Gas House Gang, today at noon on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
The pitch. A swing, and there's a drive, center field. Scott moving back, looks up. That ball is out of here. A home run for Wood. Tying the game at 6. A line drive that just got over the wall.
What is with this music?
This was on the somber music bed.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah.
It sounds almost like a war movie.
That's what I
scene.
thought. Like, are we at a
Like
museum
they're
right
walking
now?
up a hill. I'm picturing military people walking up a hill to this
Like
song.
the end of Saving Private Ryan. He's asking if he lived a good life. I'm like, what are we doing here? Is this okay? It's just a baseball game.
It's just a baseball game.
It's very
people.
sad. It was pretty sad yesterday. The Cardinals got a nice lead late. Jordan Walker put them ahead with a home run, and then they coughed it up. They are playing in Washington, as I mentioned a few moments ago. We've got a pregame show today at 4:50, 5:45 first pitch from our nation's capital. And joining us now on the guest line, reporter for Nationals TV and sideline and host Alexa Datt is with us on KMOX. You might remember her. She used to be with the Cardinals up until this year. What's going on, Alexa?
Good morning, Chris, Amy, and Matt. How are y'all?
We're doing great.
I think we're doing okay.
Matt's hungry because he's fasting today for a medical procedure.
Every detail of my life is on the radio today.
Matt's got a medical procedure.
So as soon as I started saying it, I realized I shouldn't.
I got some bubble
but
guts.
I didn't know how to stop. Yeah, Ronch has bubble guts.
Amy's got shingles. I don't know what Frank's
Chris-
problem is.
Yeah.
Chris, what happened? What did you eat?
I think it was some veggies I should have
He
thrown
said
away.
he ate old steamed vegetables. I'm like, that can't be it.
I think they were. I don't know what it was, but we're gonna be okay. We're gonna
Yeah.
power
You sure?
through. I don't know. Are the tell us about the Nationals? What's going on with them this season? We see that they've not been off to a very good start. We know they have pitching issues. What is the state of the Washington Nationals?
Yeah, I would say that their offense is clicking. You've got 1 through 9, that on any given night can come through for this team. Young players that are starting to figure it out at the plate for different reasons. And you got to give some credit to this new coaching staff that came in and gave each player an individualized game plan. Kind of like a one sheet that lets you know, here's exactly what you should be working on today. Here's how you're going to work on it. And here's the results we want to see. Here's the results that we saw previously, to show them where they came from and, where they're going. So it's very informative and lets each player kind of have, a decisive, knowledge and information about their at bat. So offensively, that really, when you talk to the guys, says that really helps them lock in at the plate because, it kind of cancels out some of the noise when you get to the plate. You kind of overthinking, what should I be doing here? What should I be doing? Really just focuses down on one or two things. And for a young team, that's really important to have that guidance. Their motto is high challenge, high support. So we're going to push these guys, but we're going to give them a lot of, information and basically positive reinforcement to help them through it.
Alexa,
so it's been a lot of fun to see. So yeah.
Oh, no, I was going to say, Ronj brought up the pitching issues. And I don't know what the word on the street was in Washington, but we were talking yesterday about this report that Miles Mikolas had been designated for assignment and how if you Googled it, all the AI kept confirming, yes, Miles Mikolas was designated for assignment. But of course, we couldn't find this report anywhere. Was that also going around in Washington that he had been and you had to dispel the myths?
No, we didn't pick any of that up here.
That's so wild.
Yeah, it was. I had a few people bring it up to me, and then somebody in a group thread sent it, and we were like, it's not real. It's not an actual thing. But the artificial intelligence, the Gemini response was saying, yep, Miles Mikolas has been designated, which is part of the challenge of.
It's kind of crazy, by the way, how much AI gets wrong right now.
A lot.
I mean, a lot. It's scary.
So you cannot rely on that result. You've got to, power through and go look for the actual results that are behind it. And speaking of him, he's had a pretty rough go of it. So we're pretty familiar with him here in St. Louis. What do you suppose is happening with him?
Yeah, I'm going to sit down and talk with him today, and we'll kind of go over what he's looking for to correct from his last outing. That obviously it didn't go well. But I think for Miles, his main goal is to be a veteran presence in the locker room, help out some of these younger guys, have them learn from him. I mean, his routine, the way he takes care of his body at this age, with the amount of innings that he's pitched, the amount of years that he's been in the bigs, that right there is enough for this coaching staff to say Miles Mikolas is worth it for a blueprint for these younger pitchers to see how somebody takes care of their body. And to lead by example in the way that he eats, the way that he works out, the way that he recovers. All of those things are, when you talk to the younger pitchers, that's what stands out to them about Miles Mikolas and what they learn from when, they talk to him in the weight room and, sitting down and eating with him. So in terms of his, successes on the mound, those will come because he's been in this league for a while. He knows how to adjust. And what specifically was he doing that he wants to work on? That's what I'll talk to him about today. But he's invaluable to these younger guys about how much he puts into his body to show them, hey, listen, you can't just be young forever and go out there and play and then, go home. You have to stretch. You have to put in the recovery work. You have to make sure you get your massages, that you're taking, everything that the trainers are saying extremely seriously. And that sort of example has been really big for the young guys.
Alexa, what is the vibe like around Nationals baseball? I have not been to that ballpark. I don't, other than a couple of people, I don't really know anybody who is a Nationals fan, and that they've spoken in depth about it. What is it like? What is Nationals Park like, and what's the fan base like?
Yeah, it's actually pretty fun. We had home opening weekend this weekend, and 250 servicemen and women came out, and it's the nation's capital. So if you celebrate the nation's pastime in the nation's capital, there's going to be an incredible flyover, timed with the anthem and all the pomp and circumstance, which was really beautiful to see. And then the fans showed up, but they've been I think waiting for a long time for this team to start to be competitive, and so they're going through a rebuild. They're waiting to see which one of these players right now that are on the team are going to be part of the young core going forward. And that's what the team's figuring out too. So everyone's kind of learning together which one of these players are they going to develop to be part of when they put, winning product back on the field. It's a waiting game for sure. There's a bit of frustration, but watching some of the improvements that they've seen, especially bringing in and basically an entirely new front office and coaching staff, I think gives fans more hope than they had before to say, all right, now we finally have a direction that we can root for.
Talking with Alexa Dat right now. And Amy, I don't know if you're going to like this or not, but they have the Clydesdales at Nationals Park opening day.
Yes.
And guess who got to be on the wagon?
That's right.
This lady got to be on the... Have we been on the wagon?
I haven't even been on the Schnucks cart, the giant Schnucks cart, which was my goal. You got to be on the... I didn't even know being on the Budweiser wagon was a
I didn't know that was a thing.
I thought you had to be in one of those green suits.
Yeah.
Amy, I climbed on up there in a red dress. I sat next to that Dalmatian, which was named Lulu, by the way, after St. Louis.
Oh, that's cute.
Okay. This might be the most upsetting news that I've ever heard.
And rode that wagon around the outside of the ballpark and waved to fans. It was fun. I mean, we're a Budweiser team too, so they decided, hey, listen, it's obviously a tradition started in St. Louis, but why not be able to bring it to other ballparks if the fans want to see it? It was great. I mean, they're huge. You love seeing those guys.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, Ranj always wants to ride away with Cash.
Cash, the Clydesdale.
The Clydesdale.
He's my
He's
favorite.
threatened to steal Cash multiple times. And again, I have always wanted to ride the giant Schnucks cart because I thought that was an attainable dream.
Yeah.
So far,
what's the giant Schnucks cart?
It's a giant cart, a Schnucks cart
It's
that
a
goes
motor.
in this,
Where is it?
It's in parades.
Yeah, like the St. Patrick's Day parade.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't
It's
know,
huge.
20 feet tall.
Yeah, it's like a vehicle.
Yeah.
And it's a shopping cart, and it's got a motor, and
Yep.
they drive it.
And you get to ride in it.
It's still not. it's very cool.
Well,
it is
Amy,
not
I
the
feel like this
Clydesdales.
is so attainable for you. I feel
I think you don't realize how low I am
Do you
on
know,
any kind of ladder, Alexa.
Alexa? Do you know about my dream of riding in a MoDOT truck?
Okay, we're handling one dream at a time, Chris. Let's
Okay.
start with Amy and the
All right.
Schnucks truck.
So the
Amy, I
Schnucks-
feel like this is a call up a friend or two and make something happen type situation.
I don't think I have friends. I'm
Well,
not.
we might want to start there.
I know. That's what I need to do. Well, I always wanted to be friends
I'm
with
your
you.
friend.
I wanted to be
I'm
friends
your
with you
friend,
and
and I will
Tamar
look into
Share.
this for you.
Did you know I started a whole campaign to be friends with you and Tamar on air?
And then what happened?
Well,
I never heard about this.
You moved out of town.
Yeah, you moved away.
We can be long distance friends. That's cool.
Amy wanted you guys to do her makeup for her.
I wanted you guys to think I was
Tamar
cool.
did, didn't she? She helped you
did.
out.
She did, but that was community service. I want to be equal, and I wanted to be as cool as Alexa and Tamar. I'm not, but here's what I will say: the Schnucks card I thought was attainable, and it has not yet been. It has proved something of an insurmountable obstacle. However, I didn't even know riding on the wagon was a real thing. So the fact that you did get to do that, all joking aside, please tell me you got like pictures and a video.
I did. It was great. It was so
Awesome.
great. Their favorite Clydesdale was Steve because he's the hardest worker.
Oh,
Really?
the hardest
Yeah.
worker, just like our
Yeah.
boss, Steve Moore, the hardest worker I've ever known.
Well, that's what made me think of him. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Uh-huh.
That's awesome. Okay, now.
Don't you think it's unfair
Uh-huh.
that Alexa you were here in St. Louis for 4 years? Did you ever get to ride on the wagon?
Who, me?
Yeah, when you were here.
No, but
No.
I got to braid the Clydesdales mane.
We didn't get to do that either.
Who's
But
offering
that
you all
was
these
from
things?
a show that I did with Budweiser and
Oh,
Me
okay.
Network.
Because
Do you
Alexa
ever
was
feel-
here 4 years,
Yeah.
didn't get to ride a Clydesdale wagon. We've been here like
Forever.
almost our entire
My whole
lives.
life.
I
Yeah.
had a little break.
But I think the only people allowed on the field for opening day are the Hall of Famers and players.
We could be outside the ballpark.
Yeah, were you
Oh,
out,
riding it
you were-
outside?
You were
Yeah.
outside or inside?
No, but there are so many people in the streets. If the Clydesdales are
Oh.
just, doing their
Yeah.
business, that's like a lot of mess in the street,
Okay.
Well, and then getting back to Ranj's other dream, his dream is to ride in a MoDOT truck while they are plowing the streets. But the thing is, and here's why I think it's not going
And they're
over
salting
well.
the streets.
Yes, and this is why I think
The
it's
Missouri Department of Transportation has those huge trucks.
not. Yes, and this is why I think it's
And
not.
what's your role? You're just throwing salt out
well,
the window?
No.
he wants to sit on the driver's lap so he can steer.
Because I'm not going to get the license. I'm not going to get the license.
And we
to
think
I've
that
never heard this before.
He's so, and I think this is why
I
MoDOT
forgot to tell
keeps-
you.
I think this is why MoDOT's ignoring him because I think they don't want him
You
sitting on the
think?
driver's lap.
There might be one driver out there's like, come on up there, little
How
buddy.
are both of your legs going to fit under the steering
figure
wheel?
it out.
You'll
I
have
just wanna
to
be able-
spread them apart.
Okay, if I can sit,
Why don't you just go get the license so you can drive the car?
it
It can't be
seems like
that complicated.
it has to be way too complicated. You know what? Maybe they'll just let me sit in the passenger seat and hold the steering wheel. Like when you're driving and your lady friend has to change her shirt. She's like, here,
What?
hold the wheel. You ever have that happen? She's trying to change her shirt in the car.
While she's driving?
Yeah.
While
hold
it's
the wheel.
moving?
Or your buddy. You never had that happen?
Nope.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like a
It's
It's a
dangerous
dangerous
stuff.
situation.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
dangerous. All right.
Well,
so do you miss
pretty
us yet
wild.
or what?
Yeah, I miss you guys a lot.
Well, we
Okay.
miss you. I mean, I
We
would
do.
miss you more if we were all friends, but one day. You're my Schnucks card, Alexa.
I'm gonna get you on that chick's car, Amy. I'm telling you.
All right.
We're gonna figure it out.
This is awesome. Thank you. I believe in you. I know you've got the power to do it.
That's my goal. All right. Well, now I have an assignment, so I'll work on that.
Alexa Dat, reporter, studio host, Nationals TV, formerly with the Cardinals. We appreciate your time. Thank you for hanging out with us for a bit.
I love you, Amy. I love you, Chris.
We love you.
We love you too. That's Alexa
Right.
Dat on the show.
Good stuff.
Cardinals today, 450. 450.
450.
And a 5:45 first pitch. 450 for the pregame show. 5:45 first pitch right here on KMOX and the free Odyssey app. If you have the app on your phone, you can listen in. And there is a huge event that is happening this week in golf. You may have heard of it. And FanDuel right now has your back with a special Mulligan bet back token this week in golf. So once that tournament starts, you can turn any losing bet into a bonus bet for another try. So now that you've got protection to take that sleeper pick that you've been thinking about, or really going out on a limb, making a bold prediction, this is your opportunity to do it because you can get that bonus bet back. Backing somebody to win it all that you really, really like, well, go ahead and go for it. Or if there's somebody you think might finish in the top 5, you can lock in that bet as well with confidence, because if the bet doesn't hit, you got that mulligan right there in your back pocket and ready to go. FanDuel.com/Missouri to take advantage. FanDuel.com/Missouri to claim your special mulligan bet back token. Must be 21 or over and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Refund issued as a non-withdrawable bonus bet that expires 7 days after receipt. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Straight Realty has always been an industry leader when it comes to commissions, so it should come as no surprise that the recent Realtor settlement has only empowered us to continue offering our sellers even better rates. We now list homes for only 2%. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Call me 314-441-4444. Why pay more than $2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends at Michael's Baths. Were you feeling a little embarrassed when the family came to visit for the holidays and all you could think about was your bathroom not quite being up to par? Now is the perfect time to plan ahead for a spring installation of a beautiful new bathroom. At Michael's Baths, we specialize in beautiful, safe bathroom remodels, from tub to shower conversions to full renovations, including paint and electrical work. Call 636-775-0800 or go to michaelsbaths.com. Mike is a great guy, does great work. That's michaelsbaths.com.
Calling all runners. Register now for the Cardinals 5K on Saturday, April 18th, and you can take a victory lap on the field at Busch Stadium. Don't miss this chance to bring the whole family for a fun St. Louis 5K race that brings fans together to support kids in the community. The Cardinals 5K, Saturday, April 18th. Register now at cardinals.com/5K. And for more information, just head to KMOX.com/events.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
My name is Christine, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, was a healthy 34-year-old, and 3 months later, he was gone. Thankfully, he had life insurance. Ethos made it so easy. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. 100% online, no medical exam. Life insurance didn't take away the loss, but it did give us the space to just grieve.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/protect. ethos.com/protect. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Spring cleaning isn't just for your house, it's for your life. If your job is getting old, it's time to clear the clutter and spring into IT. Go to My Computer Career.
My Computer Career helped me get the skills and certifications I needed to start a new life as an IT professional in months, not years.
Earn the certifications the top employers are looking for right now. Visit mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation to see if it's time to spring into IT. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Chris Ronchi, Amy Marks Kors. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Guys, I found a professor who is a woman after my own heart. Greet Matthias Phelps is a German language instructor at Cornell University, and I think I'm in love. Why is that? Well, she realized that her students were delegating so much of their work to Google or AI, not just ChatGPT, but even just Google, right? Where they could just delegate work. They could delegate how to construct their sentences grammatically correct if they used a computer. So you know what she did? She went to antique stores and found a few typewriters and brought them into the class. And as part of an analog assignment, would have her students write essays in class using typewriters. Now, it's not 100% of the work, but she said, what was the point of her reading their essays if they were already correct? Because again, this is a German language class. They didn't write it themselves. And she wants to know, if you didn't have a computer, could you have even written this essay? Could you have written this essay by hand? So she, again, like I said, bought these typewriters and is teaching her students. Matt brought this story to my attention and said, the quotes from some of the students are actually pretty hilarious. But a few things, the students didn't even realize how typewriters worked. Some of the typewriters were German and some of them were, the QWERTY, QWERTY alphabet. When she had to teach them that when the typewriter dings,
you have to hit the return button.
And the student's like, oh, that's why it's called return, because it has to go back. Also, that there is something of an art to typing with a typewriter. If you strike the letters too hard, it might smudge the letters. A lot of their pinky fingers weren't strong enough to depress the key, so they would peck at the letters with their index fingers. And some of the freshmen and the other students were saying, like, wow, I didn't realize how much I didn't think on my own, but I would just immediately Google something. I didn't try to wrestle for the right word. I would immediately Google it. And also how careless I was with typing because there's no backspace.
Yes.
So students would sit with their words before they typed them out. And I'll read a couple of the quotes. Here's one. This might sound bad, but I was forced to actually think about the problem on my own instead of delegating to AI or Google search. Another, I was so confused. I had no idea what was happening. I'd seen typewriters in movies, but they don't tell you how a typewriter works. I didn't know there was a whole science to using a typewriter. Another student, it dawned on me that the difference with typing on a typewriter is not just how you interact with a typewriter, but how you interact with the world around you. While writing the essay, I had to talk a lot more, socialize a lot more, which I guess was normal back then, but it's drastically different from how we interact within the classroom in modern times. People are always on a laptop and always on their phones.
There is every bit of information you could possibly want is on a computer. If you've got internet access, you can find it, right? But there is somehow a lack of understanding what you're seeing in a lot of cases. And I think it'd be really cool if teachers could figure out a way, professors, teachers at high school level could figure out a way to implement something like this. Of course, you're not going to be able to go find 30 typewriters for every classroom in the country.
And I think she only found, and to be clear too, I think she only bought like 4 or 5 and let the students take turns.
Right, right. Because there aren't that many of them, and they don't make them anymore. But doing stuff like this, doing more handwritten exercises where you're not on the computer, I think would help people, kids in particular, retain more and learn better.
Oh, absolutely. The same with writing by hand. When I taught AP Literature and honors writing, I would have days where my kids would write lessons in class, write essays in class, and they had to write the essays by hand. So I gave them, an hour. Most of the class was them writing an essay by hand because it's such a different experience. Have you ever used a typewriter?
Oh, yeah, of course, when I was a kid. And we actually, when I was in high school, we had typewriting classes.
With typewriters?
Actual typewriters, yeah.
I love
there was a classroom just with 30 of them or whatever, and we had to go in and learn to type.
They would hum, right? The typewriter had a low hum.
When you turn it on.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It is. It's satisfying.
It's a nice tactile experience, Amy.
Completely.
That's why there are some laptops, and it's not the same, but there are some laptops and keyboards that people really like because there's a big chunk when you type down on the keys. When you press down on the keys. All right. This lady that we're about to talk to, she was a flight attendant on international flights, and she's got some stories. She has written a book about them. Tanya Anderson. We will join her. She will join us when we come back, and we'll talk about some of those stories. They're pretty incredible. That's next on KMOX.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Drury, today, and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120. Visit Lance, DRURYlaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Pros, just because something on the job runs out doesn't mean you have to. Order it on the Lowe's app. My Lowe's Pro Rewards members get free same-day delivery on eligible orders over $25. Get the fasteners, hardware, or tools you need to keep the job moving. Order by 2 p.m. and get eligible in-stock items delivered right to your job site by 8 p.m. Members get more at Lowe's. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Subject to availability. Restrictions and terms at lowes.com/shipping terms. Subject to change.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents. So when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Here's something I run into a lot with younger homeowners, and happened to be with my little boy. He was looking at purchasing homes. This house had a 20-plus-year-old furnace and air conditioner. And, of course, my advice was never buy a house with that old of an air conditioner. You will be buying a new one. And he goes, well, how much does a new one cost? For his size home, told him figure tens of thousands to over $20,000. If you're looking at a house, my personal opinion is make sure it's a newer unit. If not, request buyers to put in a newer unit. It makes it easier on your 15 or 30-year mortgage if it's included in the loan. Just my piece of advice for that. But if you're hearing this after the fact and you do need a new air conditioner, sorry to hear that, but call me, Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest of numbers. It is 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com. God bless.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
7 o'clock, and right now we've got partly sunny skies, 50 degrees in downtown St. Louis. More detonations heard this morning from the scene of a fatal house explosion in Troy, Illinois. As KMOX's Sean Malone tells us, a bomb squad has returned to the home.
On the 8,000 block of West Kirsch Road, where late Sunday evening, a house exploded, killing 3 individuals and injuring a 4th. Now, talking to neighbors and including the time I've been here, there have been at least 8 controlled demolitions by the Illinois bomb squad, many of them further back on the property. The property, looking at it, it's not very wide, but it does go back quite deep, and there's a little bit of a hill in the front, so it is hard to see exactly what's going on. But just looking at the front, the Madison County Sheriff is here, the Troy, Missouri Fire Department is here. I can see an Illinois bomb squad trailer that looks like some sort of mechanism, if you will, that could be used to detonate an explosive inside of. And the St. Charles County, Missouri Police Department Canine Unit is here as well. In Troy, Illinois, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The Illinois Fire Marshal's office is investigating a possible home explosion in Godfrey that happened late Monday in the 300 block of Meadowlark Drive. We're told a mother and one of her adult children were inside the home. President Trump issuing a dire warning to Iran as the clock ticks toward a possible U.S. attack.
President Trump posted on social media saying, quote, "A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will," unquote. This follows a weekend posting peppered with expletives that said, quote, "Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it," unquote. The threat, which said bombing will begin at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, comes as the White House rejects claims that Vice President J.D. Vance implied nuclear weapons might be used against Iran. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
From the KMOX business desk, Alton City Council members need a little more time to study a resolution that would scale back the local tourism bureau's funding. In a committee session Monday night, the council voted to delay vote on a proposal until at least May 15th. Great Rivers and Routes Tourism President Corey Job says the city of Alton contributes $436,000 each year to his agency's $2.4 million budget, and says there was no communication from the city council to his office prior to word getting out about potential cuts in funding. Supporters say Alton pays way more to the Tourism Bureau than other cities.
A sprinkle or two through midday, clouds and breaks of sun this afternoon, but cool, only 57 for a high. Partly to mostly cloudy tonight, though 43. Tomorrow becoming breezy and warmer with clouds, some sun, and a high of 78. Intervals of clouds and sunshine and warm for Thursday, the high 81. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Currently partly sunny, 50 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
Weather sponsored by Renner Garage Door, forward and back, RENNER.
Giddy up, Cardinal Cowboy for Team Renner here, America's oldest family-owned garage door company, serving both wholesale and retail markets. Free repair or replacement quotes and $100 off a new garage door.
RENNER. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX and the free Odyssey app.
Come fly with me, let's fly away.
Well, I have been looking forward to this interview for a week or two. Because here's the deal. Tanya Anderson is an international flight attendant. She was an international flight attendant for 4 decades. And she met everyone from Elizabeth Taylor to U2 to the Dalai Lama to Mother Teresa, to Nelson Mandela, and she's got the stories. She has a new book on butterflies' wings, an anthology of international escapades. And Tanya joins us this morning. Hey, we're excited to talk to you, Tanya. Thank you for your time.
Hey, Amy, thank you. Well, thank you for your time. I'm happy to do this interview. It's very lively.
I'm trying to think of the people, in addition to you, that would have the Rolodex of names like that, of people that they've met in their lifetime. And I'm thinking only presidents would be able to compete with you, with the people that they have met over the years. Is this over the course of like multiple airlines? Was it commercial or private?
Well, it was a combination.
Okay.
I started out with Pan Am, which was dreamy because, they had a lot of VIPs in those days flying with them. And then I did fly corporate 5.5 years, which is out of LA, but it was really fun because, I've been a member of a Screen Actors Guild for 25 years, just doing background stuff.
Yeah.
So sometimes I would see them on the set. And then one time we were taking Keanu Reeves' family out to Australia. He was going to be flying up from Sydney it was really a fun trip. His mother and his sister and all these wonderful people. And one of the ladies on there said, "I've seen you at WB, Warner Brothers." And that's one of look, when you have a compliment in Hollywood, it's worth 5 times in Hollywood, anywhere else. And what had happened was I had used to be a regular on West Wing. So they had dressed me up as a full bird colonel. And it's amazing because wardrobe does such a good job. They just look at you, they dive into the 18-wheeler and pull it out and say, okay, try this on and come back to me. And if we have to make a change, we will. And so they had dressed me up as a full bird colonel, and we were working a scene in the Situation Room with the White House. And I was seated to Martin Sheen's immediate right. And I was thinking, no, I'm not high-ranking enough. I'm a full bird, but I'm not high-ranking enough to be sitting next to Martin Sheen. And then just as I was thinking that, I said, Tanya, can you step out? Because I'm with the, Joint Chiefs of Staff and all that real heavy stuff.
So you knew you weren't supposed to be there in that particular moment.
Right, but even though we're the lowest on the totem pole, they call us props with appetites when they think we're not listening.
Oh, that's so
Nice.
sad.
And there's a movie that you're in are you just an extra in Catch Me If You Can, or are you, where do you appear in that? Because I really, really like that movie.
Oh, gosh, I know. It's amazing. Steven Spielberg said that was like the dessert after making Schindler's List because he had to go to a very dark place for Schindler's List. I worked 5 scenes on it. It's pretty quick, but where you can see me the best is, and it was background, where you can see me the best is in the prison scene. And we filmed at Sylvia Brand Prison for a day. It was very heavy. And that's the scene where Tom Hanks comes in and speaks to, because the FBI's decided that Frank Abagnale is too damn smart. So he's speaking to Leonardo DiCaprio and saying, we want you to come work for the FBI and show us what you do. And, and you'll be off the hook, essentially. And if you look over at Leo's shoulder, you'll see me with a flip hairdo on it. Well, it's a wig, actually. Like that girl kind of from the mid-'60s,
Yeah.
the teased hair and all that stuff. And I'm like down and out, and I'm visiting my convict husband. And it's kind of fun. You can't move the seats around. There's all that plexiglass in between you and all that sort of stuff. But I mean, the prison was rough. I mean, it's really rough. It was abandoned. It even had some of the Manson sisters in there, but it was abandoned because of the Northridge earthquake in '94. But and then I did other scenes at the airport. It was Ontario Airport, California, standing in for Miami, and it was dreamy. And the costumer, Mary Zorfres, she dressed me up in this fabulous. So she made me a Pan Am passenger in another scene, and they teased my hair like it was really crazy. And I'm in that scene where he arrives at the airport, Tom Hanks. And he's looking. He thinks he's hot on Frank's trail, and so anyway, it's not right. I was actually standing behind Video Village, and when he realizes that the guy goes, gets out of the car and it's the wrong guy, it's not Frank Abagnale, Spielberg only did about 6 takes on that, and then he just starts laughing because it's just so fun. And everybody, I've never heard anything negative said about that film. It's just dreamy. It's got all the elements,
That's what an experience, and what experiences you've had in your career. So going back to when you were a flight attendant, can you walk us through maybe when you would have a big name on board, like a U.S. president or Nelson Mandela or Elizabeth Taylor, and say you're working at Pan Am, are you prepped? The staff, hey, get ready, this person's going to be on board. Are you ever surprised?
Yeah. No, I didn't. So I wasn't too senior at Pan Am for a while, so I'd be working the back. But but how it worked is in '88 I became a purser with Pan Am. That's the head flight attendant on 747, a lot of responsibility. And there was a man in New York called Sho Akagawa, obviously from Japan, and he used to come down the jetway like you described and say, "Today you're going to get so and so," or sometimes I would beat him too. I'd say, "Who am I getting? Who am I getting?" Like a little kid, because I didn't know. We didn't have obviously electronics in the 80s like we do now. But one time I was in Los Angeles, and they said Maureen O'Hara is here. That lady was so amazing. She was so friendly and so beautiful and so gracious. And she, of course, she was in first class in 747 from LA going back to New York. And the thing about her too, the senior people at Pan Am all knew her because she had been married to a Pan Am pilot. And so that was and they were really, really in love. They lived, I believe, in St. Croix. So on that flight, the pilots came down one by one and spoke to her. And she was just standing up in the galley yakking with us, but she was so gracious and so beautiful. She's the kind of person, if you started crying and said, "I just broke up with my boyfriend," she would listen to your stuff too. You know what I mean?
Great.
She was she was amazing. But the other people like Liz Taylor, I knew her 2 sons from my school in England, Chris and Michael Wilding. So when I met her at Gunston Hall, really had a chance to talk to her. She was campaigning with her husband. He was running for the Senate, John Warner from Virginia, where I'm originally from. And I just looked at her, and people say so many stupid things to her, like people say I look like you and all this stuff. So I just looked at her and I said, "I went to school with Mike and Chris in England." She said, "You must have gone to Millfield." And I said, "Yes, I did." So she looked at John Warner and said, "Darling, give her our private phone number because Chris is coming to town." I thought I was going to faint.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I invited him to a party. I was in the hotel business at the time. And he came to the party in November wearing a 3-piece white linen suit and 7 diamonds going up his left ear. Now, I hadn't told anybody at my party. We're all Marriott people. All work at the Marriott Hotel. I hadn't told anybody who he was. Only one, and I swore her to secrecy because I didn't want people to know. And then he started saying things about my mother spending time in Sardinia and stuff like that. And they go, "Well, what's your mother do?" "Oh, my mother's Elizabeth Taylor."
That's amazing.
It was cool.
So
yeah.
of all the people that you've had, and we went through some of them, who was the neediest passenger that you can remember?
Well, the models. Okay, so when I flew with Pan Am, I had, what's her name? Oh, gosh, married to David Bowie. Imam. I had Imam come on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, wow. But I tell you something, she was really nasty, she's really goofy, and she was very needy. And So she goes and she starts yelling at the other passenger, first class, okay, I'm a 7-4, and says, "You're sitting in the wrong seat. That's my seat." But actually, she was wrong, and then she didn't apologize. That's offense number one. Okay, then we're flying, and she goes, "Ding, ding, ding, ding," like like emergency. I'm like, "What's going on?" And I said, "Are you okay?" She said, I've lost my speakers. Your headphones. Okay, all right. So we found them, and then you're gonna love this. So then I've lived in Africa, okay, and I know she's from Somalia, I believe.
Yes.
So I'm looking over the cab, making sure everybody's been fed. It's all good. They're watching the movie. And I see what she's done is she's put her feet up on the seat back from the man sitting in front of her.
Uh-oh.
I know. Now, boy, this is where you got to really put on the diplomatic hat. You know what I mean? So I went to her and I said, it always kills me when you say, Miss So-and-so when they've gone through Hollywood with a blowtorch. But anyway, I said to her, Miss Imam, can you please put your feet down? Because imagine you're the passenger in front and you can smell something. It's like, what is going on here? You know what I mean? And then another time when I flew corporate, I had Paris Hilton on and she was, oh boy, she was, but this is a long time ago. I see that she's changed though, because I actually saw her give some testimony on Capitol Hill about schools, reform schools for young, teenagers and how bad they are. So it looks like she's changing. She lost her house last year in the awful fires, but she was pretty haughty. But her sister, God, what's her sister's name? I can see her face. Nikki was really nice, completely opposite. And Nikki had dyed her hair black, and I think the reason she had done that at the time was she was tired of people getting them mixed up, But
Yeah.
Nikki was totally different. And we had Kim Stewart, Rod Stewart's daughter, on that flight, and Lionel Richie's daughter, Nicole. And Tara, the one that was getting into trouble. Actually, I could smell the booze coming out of her pores.
Tara Reid.
Yes.
Yeah.
But she only had Diet Cokes, but we're only going to Vegas because Nikki Hilton was getting married.
That is okay. So much to unpack here. Now, I will say we have a texter, Tanya, who is listening or watching the show, and his name's Ron. He said Tanya has spoken about more cool life experiences in 2 minutes than I can recall over my 68 years. I need to get out more.
Ron.
But I do.
Come on, Ron.
Yeah, Ron, you need to get out there and meet you too.
Gosh, they're wonderful. Yes.
Oh yeah. I'm a big U2 fan,
Yeah,
so
he
I need
is.
you to tell me what they're like on an airplane.
Oh, they're dreamy throughout. So it was 2001, and we flew them for their entire North American tour. And so it was just amazing. We were having so much fun in the beginning because my coworker, Emlyn, was the chief flight attendant. We have a 727 configured to 50 first class seats and 4 club tables. And so Emlyn did all the food stuff because he had owned a restaurant, so he knew all about that. And I did like the flowers, and I had fun with that. I'd go to the grocery store and get all these kind of different flowers and things, and we'd go shopping together to get food. And then but Emlyn had a blast because the first 3 trips, he would go to restaurants and we would get, we did Greek one night. We did all the Greek foods like spanakopita and the lamb and all that. And then another time we did curry with all the condiments. And then when one of his nutritionists came and said, "We need to speak to you when we get to Canada because we have to keep the boys slender." All right, I'm okay. All right, we're on board. And we did. We changed our menu. But about a week in, Bono said, I haven't really met you. I said, we've been on the flight for a week and you haven't really had a chance to talk. And he looks at you with those clear blue eyes. And there's something I love about him that is kind of unusual with well-known people. He looks right at you like you're the only person in the room. He's not looking behind you to see who else is going on. And we spoke, and I said, I have something I want to ask you. How did you and Allie, his wife, how did you fall in love with Africa? How did you get started and all that? So he told me that whole story. And he's so gracious. I mean, there's so many things to say about him, but Edge is exactly the same way. Adam is exactly the same way. Larry's the quiet one. He just he drinks his tea and just wants to be left alone. But we had an incident one time when Adam's guitar went missing, and it was very difficult. They had 15 guitars on the plane, right? And we started out in Canada, and then we flew, I think it was to Detroit. and they did something there for the day. And then we left Detroit and went to another place. It was like upstate New York or something. So when the guitar, it was about a $10,000 guitar. It was dark green, so Irish color, for Adam, a bass player. And it went missing. We're looking all over the place, because it could be in one of the limos. We've been in 3 cities, the in and out. And then it's kind of a funny story, but the head security guy was really freaked out. And so I said, I'm going to see a psychic of mine, Steve. I've known him for years. I can ask him where it is. And he's kind of giving me that voodoo look, you know what I mean? And so anyway, I had a session with Steve that I'd already planned. And he said it was at the hotel in Detroit. And sure enough, so they got on. We met him in New York. I was off for a couple of days. Got back together with them, and had security guy got on, and I said, "So did you guys find it?" And he gave me that big-eyed look. I said, "You did, didn't you?" And it turned up at the hotel in Detroit. And I think what happened was somebody behind the desk said, "I got a chance here," But what do? Do you hide it in your basement? It's like stealing the Mona Lisa,
That's right. You can't sell it. Oh my God, that's
exactly.
You have so many amazing stories, Tanya. We could talk to you for another hour.
I love it.
Well, thank you for doing this. Thank you for writing the book so we have an opportunity to read more. The book is called On Butterflies' Wings, an anthology of international escapades. Tanya Anderson is the author of the book. She was a flight attendant for so many famous people. Really, really incredible stuff. Thank you, Tanya, for talking with us today.
Thank you so much for your time, and say hi to Ronnie, and thanks for listening in.
Oh, we will for sure.
We will do that.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Tanya
Bye-bye.
Anderson. Again, catch the book. It is called On Butterflies' Wings, an anthology of international escapades. That's a lot of stuff.
I can see why she wrote a book. She's got a
word.
lot of stories.
You're not getting those experiences on Spirit.
No, different kinds. Different kinds. Well, at any rate, that was fun talking with her. Okay. Let's see. When is Mother's Day? Is it next month already? Well, I have the perfect gift if you're looking for a gift for your wife or your mom or both. TheOnlyFacial.com. TheOnlyFacial.com. Now, like I said, I'm in my 40s. I'm paying attention to my skin. I should have taken better care of my skin when I was younger. But what's so great about the Only Facials, they explain to you all the steps they're doing in their facials, and whether it's cleansing your face, moisturizing, dermaplaning, microdermabrasion, they explain what the process does and how it helps your skin glow now and continue to regenerate as time goes on. Also, I love that it is $125 each time, period. That includes gratuity, and you don't have to worry about the stress of tipping. You don't have to worry about the stress of, are they going to make me buy products? They don't sell products. Also, there's a location near you: University City, Des Peres, Clayton, Sunset Hills, Frontenac, Creve Coeur, and the streets of St. Charles. So your wife or your mom won't have to drive far to go get the facial. TheOnlyFacial.com. TheOnlyFacial.com.
How was your break? It was great until I stopped for gas. Prices have gone up almost $1 with no end in sight. I might have to start watching how much I drive.
That's exactly why I use Upside. I never pay full price for gas with the free Upside app.
Upside?
Yes, Upside. It's the free app that gives you cash back just for buying the gas you're already buying. So even with the rising gas prices, I'll never have to limit how much I drive.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Just last year, I made over $200 with the Upside app.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app right now.
Download the free Upside app to earn cash back on the gas you're already buying. Use promo code WAGON for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WAGON for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first fill-up. That's WAGON.
Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before. We now have more offices, more staff, and more lawyers than any other injury firm in the world, protecting America, fighting for you.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Story Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit Lance, D-R-U-R-Y law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
100 years of service and still at your service. KMOX.
Boy, Tanya Anderson, we've gotten so many text messages about Tanya's energy. She is the flight attendant for 40 years who served on flights where U2 was and Nelson Mandela, Dalai Lama. Elizabeth Taylor had Elizabeth Taylor's private number.
You know what, though? I love her energy. And I think to have that job for 40 years, I think you have to have energy and curiosity and a zest for life. Don't you think so? That's what, or at least that's what makes you good at that type of job.
I only get short bursts of that.
I have yet to see one.
I am so jealous of that, to have that kind of like just
you're pretty all the time.
Low key.
Well, yeah. Something. You're kind of like the hum of a typewriter. Just kind of there. But
comforting.
I don't often see you swing in either direction. The only time where I saw you swing in one direction was a bad direction. And that was when you were really sad when Illinois State lost.
Oh my God.
And
they wrecked
the football game.
The football team.
And I had never seen him so down that I think I texted you.
They wrecked me.
Yeah.
It was.
Because usually he jokes about being devastated with the Bears,
tell you,
but this time was real.
I will tell you, worst sports loss of my entire fandom.
Yeah.
It had to, and
it was the only time I've actually been concerned about you.
It was a bad one.
Yeah.
It was really bad. And the thing about it is, it's a team that, I get it. It's FCS football. It's not the big boys. It's not Alabama and Florida and Georgia and all those. So I get it, right? It's not a big deal, but my group of friends paid pretty close attention to it in college and we got into it.
Yeah.
And so I'm pulling for them, right? I feel like I'm in a really tiny club, and my God, I've had so many people who happened to watch the game because it was on Monday night who were like, oh my God, I saw that game. That was a heartbreaker. I'm like, I know. People who don't care about it, but
it was the most devastated I've seen you, enough where I was genuinely concerned. And I think the highest high I've ever seen you have is when you met Cash the Clydesdale, probably.
Yeah, I'm going to buy that horse
one day. Well, now you have an in. Alexa's been on the wagon.
She has been but it's a different set of Clydesdales. They don't take.
Okay, it's not.
They don't travel all the way to Washington, D.C.
It's all about which Clydesdales you know, and she knows the right ones. They can get you to Cash.
I feel like I know the right ones. I saw Cash again outside the. So, first of all, real quick, you can meet a Clydesdale. You cannot meet a baby. So I saw Cash outside City Park, Energizer Park for the opening day this season. And I went up to the handler. Did I tell you? I don't know if I told you this or not.
You told me.
I did. I'll tell you again. Went up to the handler and I said, hey, where's Cash? Is Cash out today? And she said, he's right here.
Yeah, well,
and he's
Cash,
feeling a little sick. He was under the weather.
That's why you're not going to be able to get Cash with an attitude like that because you didn't recognize him.
Well, he was under the weather. He was sick.
So he had bags under his eyes.
He was
That's why
snotty,
you didn't recognize him.
So I didn't know it was him.
All right. Well, at any rate, here's the thing. We're going to need to hear from you in the next few minutes. 314-436-7900. Because when we come back, we've got two major stories. The first big story is Matt's love saga continues. Matt is in love. Matt is in love, and he doesn't care who knows it. The second one is way less sexy. Municipal elections. Are you voting today? Did you vote for the school board?
Speaking of vote, get your butt to our Twitter account at Chris Amy KMOX. We are in the championship matchup between OB Clark's and McGurk's for the best bar in the St. Louis area. You have until tomorrow morning to vote. If you haven't voted, better get your vote in at Chris Amy KMOX. It is pinned to the top. Go right there on Twitter and vote. It is the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Hey guys, it's Dave from The Glover Show, trying to explain The Glover Show. So when I was a younger man, I used to go to happy hour almost every night, and I loved it. And I've always thought of my show as being like happy hour. It's always interesting. It's often silly, but not always. You know, there are real things to talk about. I am amongst friends, politics, and personal things. So that's what it is, really. It's happy hour for thousands of us every day between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. And I hope you'll tune in and join the happy hour.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here. I want to tell you about Burn Balance Complex. It's the latest tool available at Supplement Superstores to get you moving down the path you want to when it comes to being in great shape. This is not a fat burner. It is a complete metabolism system. It's Burn Balance Edge for the guys, Burn Balance Zen for the ladies. So make sure you ask for the right one when you go in. But what this does is makes your body work the right way. So what I've noticed in a short amount of time so far, metabolism is great. I mean, you're starting to feel, in fact, I can feel it. Shirts are fitting a little looser. The belt pulls a little tighter. And on top of that metabolism boost, you're also getting some reductions in stress and cortisol levels. You're getting appetite control, craving control throughout the day, all day focused energy with no jitters and crash. And look, it isn't magic. You need to do the work. But I'll tell you this, it's a good assistant. It helps a lot to make the right decisions. So if you want long-lasting results, go to Supplement Superstores. Tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They'll knock 30% off the Burn Balance Complex, and you can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
49 degrees. The sun is peeking out behind some clouds, though. A high of 57 today. Tonight, increasing clouds, a low of 42. Weather sponsored by Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm.
Sandberg Phoenix serves your business in litigation, intellectual property, and products liability. We're more than a law firm. We're committed to your success. Learn more at sandbergphoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Spring cleaning rule number 1, out with the old, in with the new. And frankly, your family's old internet connection is a dinosaur. Upgrade to the 1 gig modern family standard from i3 Broadband. It's 100% true in-home fiber with equal upload and download speeds, so your teenager's gaming won't crash your video call. Even better, we're currently offering our longest price guarantees ever on our gig speed internet services. Say goodbye to exploding promo prices and hello to budget certainty. Visit i3broadband.com/radio and start your spring off right.
Spring is here in St. Louis, and if you're thinking about selling, now's the time. But timing is only part of it. This is Debbie Monterey, and I'm with Gloria Liu, your home sold guaranteed realty. Gloria, why is it still so important to choose the right realtor?
Simple. Not every home is selling fast or for top dollar. Here's the difference. I already have the buyers. With over 2,400 buyers in waiting, I'm not just listing your home. I'm matching it with demand. That's how I offer my guaranteed sale program. We sit down, agree on the price and timeline, and if your home doesn't sell, I'll buy it myself. But my goal isn't to buy your home, it's to sell it for the most money possible in the least amount of time. And that's exactly what my system does. My clients don't have to hope their home sells. I guarantee it.
If you're selling your home this spring, call the one I trust, Gloria Liu, 314-325-6888 or GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Tonight, the Cards, the Nationals.
Ameren Total Access 450. First pitch 545.
Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's Chris and Amy on KMO. We were just talking about Mr. Bean.
My favorite
Great
Mr.
show.
Bean clip, though, is from the Olympic, I think it was the opening or closing ceremonies in London, where he is playing the Chariots of Fire song on the piano, but he's only hitting the one note, so he gets bored and mad.
Yeah. He's very funny. There was a thing with him where they, and I cannot find it. I wish I could find it, but it was like an audition for something. And he came out on stage and all he had was a piece of paper with nothing on it. And he just made faces and the crowd
died.
Because he was so physically funny, everything he did.
I know we need to move on, but I will say I also recommend you watch Mr. Bean interviewing Elton John. And it's about how Elton John has two first names and how John should be his first name.
That's funny.
But he keeps asking Elton about it until the point where it looks like Elton's ready to kill him. And he keeps going back to his name.
And I would recommend, as we move forward here, I would recommend the Christmas episode of Mr. Bean. Great.
Well, I also recommend, as many of you did, that our very available producer, Matt Pajeski.
Yeah, he's got nothing going on.
He reached out to the woman of his dreams with whom he has been emailing for months on end. And I don't want to speak out of turn here, and I don't want to disclose intimate information, but she also told him to have a nice weekend.
That's right.
On email.
So
Matt thinks that she is coming on to him.
Let's recap. Let's quickly recap. A woman in a work setting
for our
via email told him to have a nice weekend. And
hot.
his reaction was, "Oh, hello."
Well,
hello.
Don't mind if I do. I will have.
I think I will have a good weekend. What are you
So
doing?
what I love about this is here's why I think it's true love is that Matt fell in love with this woman via email. He has never heard her voice.
Never spoken to her.
He's never seen her. Doesn't know what she looks like
until we found her.
So we did some investigative reporting and found her, and she's a looker.
She's cute.
She's cute, and she's age appropriate.
What a relief.
Because that's also a concern. So we
Amy,
highly encouraged, Matt to go to New York.
Matt, we want you to know that Amy and I have reached out to her.
We have. And
we did not. We're kidding. Oh my God, we should have done that though.
Here's the thing, though. You don't have to. Okay. You have a reason to go. You have to make a reason to go to New York. It doesn't matter if there's false pretenses for going to New York, but you have a reason to meet her, which 99% of people don't when they're in love. All you have to say is, I'm going to be in New York, would love to see. Did we say which company she works for?
CBS.
CBS. Yeah, that's right. Would love to see, because we are a CBS affiliate, would love to see the CBS radio offices and, great to meet you. That is so benign. It is not aggressive.
Benign like a tumor. You should do it.
But now I have to go to New York. I don't want to go to New York.
You don't want to go to New York?
Dude, put some effort into it. This is why it's not going to work
You've got
out.
to see New York at least once in your life.
Yeah, I will. But you know,
well, this is the time.
I
to
might
do
be
it.
going to New York in June. Do you want me to reach out?
Sure. But the beauty of the email is that we can interact without me flying
oh my gosh,
to New York.
She's living a
Well,
lie.
you got to see her at some point.
No.
In person. Don't you want to see her in person?
Yeah, I guess.
So you would not take a flight to go see somebody else?
I would if we were already going out. I would not meet a person that way.
Okay. Here's some advice from Thomas Welch. He's with St. Louis Sports Center. He's a sports guy here in St. Louis.
He covers hockey.
He covers hockey.
Yeah.
And he says, shooters shoot. Don't let anyone convince you Twitter isn't a dating site. Because, see, he fell in love over Twitter. And what happened is there's a woman named Leah, and she posts a lot about hockey and the Blues.
Yep.
A prolific, she said, she likes to talk puck. Prolific hockey fan, gaming, all of that. And she posted back in 2018 a photo of the Simpsons hit and run video game and how she loves it. Now, Thomas Welch, who is, a sports guy and also loves video games, responded to that tweet in 2018, let's get married.
Well, there was a little more to it. She tweeted out the photo of that video game. He said, wait, so you're a huge Blues and old video games fan? And she said, damn right I am.
Yeah.
And he responded, let's get married.
And that was in 2018.
That was in January of 2018. And by God, 8 years later, they've gotten married.
They've gotten engaged.
Engaged. Well, they're getting married.
There's a
That's
picture.
insane.
That's insane. Because
I love
they really didn't know each other. They were just Twitter friends. And there's a picture of him proposing to her on one knee in front of the Grand Basin and Art Hill in Forest Park. And that's why he said, take your shot, shooter, shoot. And they're getting engaged. Now, also, this has gone viral. Almost 8 million people now have seen this picture. But Matthew Pajeski, you are going to be the next Thomas Welch.
And I'm going to ask this girl at CBS to marry me.
I think you should just email her.
Well, first of all, you got to call her a woman.
She's a girl.
When she's
my
a
age.
little girl.
I'm a kid. I'm a boy. She's a girl.
I'm a kid. I'm a boy.
But what if her email to you is have a nice weekend and you respond, let's get married?
Yeah. I think that would work. Don't you think?
Yeah,
I do.
That's why
I think so.
You have to take a shot at it, though. Really, what's the worst thing that can happen? She'd stop talking to you professionally?
Well, it would affect the show because she sets us up with
I think the worst could happen is that workplace harassment.
So-
and she could file a lawsuit and then he gets fired.
No. Well, but I think like we had one of our listeners who chimed in yesterday via text or
Oh, yeah.
who said, I've been in a lot of HR meetings.
Yeah.
It's
So this
totally-
guy would know.
Yeah, he said it's totally
This guy's
fine.
been called into the office a time or two.
Yeah.
And he said, do it once. If they tell you that's enough, then you got to back down. But if you're being persistent and obnoxious about it, then you're in trouble.
Yeah. I've got a hard time not being obnoxious.
Would you, and this is a question, this is a question for the listener. Would you,
should Matt maybe?
well, we know they're all going to say he should because it's not them.
Okay.
They're not the ones who have to do it.
Yeah.
But have you ever done something like this where
Yeah.
you really went out on a limb with somebody?
Mm-hmm.
And good story or bad story, maybe it worked out, maybe it didn't. Let us know. 314-436-7900.
Yeah.
Or tweet at us.
And now is the time to text in to Bully Matt because he's hungry and he can't eat
That's right.
until after his medical thing. And so he's weak. He's weak now. And I think we should go after him while he is weak.
I think
no respect from anyone.
we should tell her that he's in a weakened state, but he's powering through work. And aren't you impressed?
Is that what she meant by having us have a nice weekend state?
Yeah. Buddy, I think you should go for it.
I do
if
too.
If it's going to work out for Thomas, it can work out for you.
Right now, our email threads, how like if you use Gmail, there's just like a little profile picture.
Yeah.
My profile picture is the KMOX logo, and her profile picture is our initials. Like these are the only visuals that we have of each other.
Well,
we're not off to a good start.
Amy and I found her.
I know.
So here's the next
She's
step.
cute.
Here's the next step, Amy. Let me know if you agree with this.
Okay.
If he doesn't do anything about it, we're going to take it upon ourselves to we're going to get the ball rolling, you and me.
Obviously. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Our boss, Steve, is
We have access to her email, too.
we do. And our boss, Steve, always says, you need to find your passion, your mission for the show.
Yeah.
I think this is it.
This is...
And you know what's a bummer, though, is the first thing that comes up when you Google Matt Pajeski is his Napoleon Dynamite.
Really?
Outfit. No, I'm joking.
Oh. I was going to have to scrub that. That was going to have to go away.
The horror in his face.
What?
Oh,
It's
the
just
poor guy.
multiple pictures of him dressed as Napoleon Dynamite.
I love when I Google your name. It's like, are you sure you don't mean Matt Pajensky?
I know.
Like, you don't want this one. You want this Pajensky fella instead.
Are you sure? At any rate, we do want to hear from you so we can advise Matt and also what we should do. Also, again, I did mention the least sexy thing in the history of the world, and that was municipal elections. And what's crazy is they're not sexy, but guess what? They have an impact on us immediately and directly.
Yeah.
So St. Louis voters are deciding today, just to throw it out there, they're deciding on Proposition E. What is Proposition E, you ask? Well, this is the famous ballot measure asking whether or not the city is going to renew its 1% earning tax. We have talked about this 1% earnings tax ad nauseum, but will it be continued or not? Well, voters are voting today. Just as a heads up, if they vote no, it doesn't end the 1% earnings tax immediately. Instead, the tax would be phased out over the next 10 years.
It seems, and nobody likes to pay taxes. I feel like the city, which currently has a surplus, but it's a one-time settlement thing. So this is not going to be life. But
Yeah.
I feel like it would probably be very bad for the city if we didn't have that 1% tax.
Yeah. So anyway,
So I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening here. But it's interesting because it's not getting a ton of attention. It's
Mhm.
getting some, but people aren't
Yeah.
focused on it, even though it would affect, for those who live or work in the city, it would affect their daily lives.
right. And the same thing is in my neighborhoods and communities, I'm sure, I think Matt said the same thing where he lives. You're seeing all the yard signs for school board elections,
Mhm.
all these school board elections. And again, not sexy. Like, people don't usually wear the big I voted stickers with municipal elections, but my goodness, the school boards directly affect you. If you have a family, you have kids.
It's just
So
it's not sexy.
you got to do the non-sexy voting too. So
But-
again,
but
but
it is it's something that you get to bitch about later if it doesn't go well.
That's
You're
exactly
like,
right.
Wait, why is this guy on the school board? Did you vote?
I did.
No.
Oh,
Forgot.
right. But if you vote, you do get to complain.
Right.
All right. I just want to throw this out there from Matt. We do have a 314. I went out on a limb for the love of my life. My second grade teacher did not feel the same way, and it ruined my recess.
Do not go for women who are too much older than you. And here's another person who says when he was in high school,
Yeah.
there was a girl sat next to study hall, way out of his league. He decided one day to ask her out, fully expecting to be shot down, and they dated for a year and a half.
Yeah.
Wow.
So maybe this can happen for you.
I've gotten lucky a few times with, putting myself out there. It happens.
And another person says, Matt, why in the world would you tell these two goofballs
No.
about this girl?
Yeah,
That's
I know.
Bob.
That was your fault,
Yeah.
for sure.
Shouldn't have told you about the medical procedure I've got.
Yeah.
My
Here's the problem with
love
this
interests.
with this show and this industry. Technically, we're corporate America, but we're not, because we talk about everything. Not only for our jobs do we talk about the most emotionally charged and controversial political and cultural issues, but we also just share way too much personal stuff, because sometimes you're talking on the air about personal stuff. But I just think in general, we all share a little too much information, and what you say can and will be used against you on air.
You know what? I'll reach out to her. I'll make this happen for you, buddy.
Please don't.
Yeah, I got
See,
you.
John gets it. John on
I got
Facebook
you.
said you guys definitely should get the ball rolling.
See?
Find out if she's married or involved with someone.
You're too much of a
etc.
chicken.
Well, don't put him down. You got to build up his confidence.
I'm going to email her.
Okay.
I'm going to say, look, we got this boy that we work with.
Squirrely little pipsqueak.
Squirrely little
St.
boy.
Louis.
Little boy,
Halfway across the country from you in New York City.
but he has brown shoes.
But I bet she has Midwest sensibilities, buddy.
That's what I'm looking
Maybe,
for.
you know what?
There you go.
Maybe she's disillusioned, because I've heard that the loneliest place to be when you are alone is New York. because it really sinks in that you have no one. And also I've also heard it's hard to date in New York because everyone's very, they're trying to climb a ladder. They're young. They're trying to make their life in New York. They want someone who's bigger, better, richer. But
so go for the opposite. Go down.
She wants
smaller, poorer.
She wants to kill her dreams.
Yeah.
Go out with you.
Remember when the publication tried to put out that nonsense that St. Louis was the best city in the country for singles?
Yeah.
Remember that
Yeah.
nonsense? What in the hell?
I think it's the best place to just stay single forever. That's what it meant.
That's Amy Marks Kors. I'm Chris Ranji. Gas House Gang is coming up today. It's Ollie Tuesdays. So it'll be Tom Ackerman and Bernie Miklasz with Ollie Marmol starting at 12 o'clock. The Cardinals manager. We're about 14 minutes or so away from that. You'll want to stick around on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right. What are you doing Saturday, April 25th? I have a great idea. Join us at the STL Work Zone Awareness Run, 5K and 1 mile fun run. So you've got options. You can bring the whole family. And just as the name implies, it's an annual event dedicated to promoting safety for road workers and raising awareness about work zone hazards. When you see those cones, when you enter a construction zone, make sure you put your phone down, you slow down so that all of those MoDOT workers who are making the roads safer for us so we can get home to our families, let's make sure they can get home safely to their families. Plus, the 5K and 1 mile fun run is great for the whole family because not only can you walk it or jog it, but if you have younger kids who love construction or fire trucks or like some of the MoDOT trucks, they're going to have those available. And the kids can get up close and personal and get a picture with the trucks, which is always a lot of fun. It's at the MoDOT headquarters right there at 141 and Highway 40. Google STL Work Zone Awareness Run to sign up.
It's the spring clearance sale at Miller Furniture and Mattress now through April 21st.
I'm Mark Miller, owner of Miller Furniture, your home for quality American-made furniture since 1927. Don't miss savings of up to 75% off our list price throughout all 4 showrooms. Plus, get up to 60 months special financing.
We have more American-made furniture than ever to choose from. Finish every room in your home with quality Amish-made furniture in today's updated styles.
See our new spring styles on display, including our fully stocked Flex Steel and Smith Brothers furniture galleries.
It's time to get the quality sleep you deserve. Right now, take half off any Chapman Wells luxury mattress when you purchase an adjustable base.
Visit any of our 4 locations, Belleville, Fairview Heights, Lake St. Louis, or Ellisville to save on over $8 million of inventory with delivery as fast as tomorrow.
Don't miss the spring clearance sale at Miller Furniture now through April 21st and save up to 75%.
At Miller Furniture, we put the family in furniture. Shop online at MUELLERfurniture.com.
Get ready to laugh out loud, St. Louis. The outrageous Broadway hit Spam-A-Lot is riding into the fabulous Fox Theater May 5th through the 17th. From the twisted minds of Monty Python, this Tony Award-winning musical brings you killer rabbits, dancing knights, and non-stop hilarity. It's the legend of King Arthur like you've never seen it before. More information can be found at KMOX.com/events.
At EasyCater, we believe every workday gets better with great food, like that morning status meeting, always better with bagels. And don't forget the coffee. Ops team working late? How about some Power Bowls to keep them going strong? Sandy's celebrating 10 years at the company. This calls for cupcakes. With EasyCater, you get a huge variety of favorite restaurants with tools to help meet dietary needs and stay on budget, all on one platform. So make every workday better with EasyCater. Start an order at easycater.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The financial industry is getting rich on baby boomers. Don't be their next victim. Find out the truth of what's really going on in the retirement industry. Join Greg Ayler Saturdays at 1 on Fire Your Financial Advisor.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast.
Pump up the volume.
When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/groundadvantage to learn more.
There's a new kind of energy at Starbucks. When your day needs a reset, try the all-new energy refreshers. Strawberry acai, mango dragon fruit, or the all-new mango strawberry. The refreshers you love, now with extra caffeine. New energy refreshers only at Starbucks.
The Chris and Amy Show is video streaming now on KMOX's YouTube, X, and Facebook pages. Click and subscribe.
I can't believe I lost the friends and family pool last night, but I am thankful for this one reason.
Okay.
So Michigan won the national title in college basketball. I was number 2 in Major Garrett's friends and family pool, and there were about a couple hundred people in it. I was 2 out of 200 something. If UConn had won, I would have won. But because Michigan won, I got bumped down. And some guy named Brian won. Great job, Brian. But you know what, though? Maybe this is a blessing in disguise because now, Amy, I don't have to feel guilted into giving up my half of the money.
I know. I was wondering if you were going to have to do that.
I don't know. I think that like half goes to charity and then you can decide what to do with the other half.
Well, no. So the way it works, the way Major explained it is that you get the money and then he personally donates 3 times the amount to the charity of your choice.
Oh, okay.
So I think you get to keep it
And
unless
did
you're
he say that
supposed
most people, they end up donating it too,
I
right?
don't know. I don't remember that.
I don't want to be one of those
I
people.
tuned out. Hey, I want to say this, though. We're getting texts in from our listeners, from Matt. A 636 says, my brother, just go for it. You would rather try and fail than never tried it at all. And women love confidence. Another texter, a 618.
Do they like emails from across the country? Hey, I know you don't know me. I looked you up online and you look pretty cute.
Can we get married?
Yeah.
Another texter says, Matt, why would you take advice from 2 people who are alone? Guess what? Ranj has an old battle axe.
Yeah,
we talked to her.
Yeah, we
today.
did. We talked to her today.
Yeah.
He's not alone
and
anymore.
she is long distance. So.
Yeah. Now it's now long distance is a thing.
Another says, take a chance, Matt. She could be the one that got away.
That's right.
One that got away.
How about this lady who met her husband on vacation during Labor Day weekend in New Orleans? She's from St. Louis. He's from New York. 6 months later, he asked her to marry him.
No.
They are still together 33 years later.
Wow.
33.
Hey, Linda also, man, these are great texts. Thank you to our listeners.
She says happily married. We haven't heard from him, though.
We haven't. Linda says on Facebook, all Matt needs to do, merely suggest that the New York CBS gal let him know if she's ever in St. Louis and that he would love to show her around. Simple. That tells her he's interested in her without saying much of anything. That is a great one.
That's a good one.
That's Linda knows what's up.
And I don't have to buy a plane ticket to New York City. That's great.
You got to stop advertising that you're cheap.
Don't just put it on her.
Yeah. Now you're making her. Are you going to make her pay when you take her out to dinner?
Absolutely. Wow. Yeah. This is a win-win for me.
Dutch. They call it Dutch.
I thought that's when you split.
That's what they're going to do.
Oh, you're going to split it?
Yeah.
No, she's paying for me too.
Oh, the whole thing too? I flew all the way out of here for you.
Then how much more is $60 going to set you back?
Oh, she bought the flight too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not where I was going with it. Matt. Poor Matt.
This is exciting. This
All
is.
right.
I think we've really hit something that the people care about.
Buddy, good luck to you.
Thanks.
And if there's not any movement, Amy and I have discussed this. If there's not any movement on this front soon, we will be taking the first step for
appreciate
you.
you guys looking after me. I'm never going to tell you anything ever again now.
Whatever. We do
Why?
not divulge too much. By the way, let us know how the test results are.
Okay.
Yeah. Let us know.
I will.
I look forward to when you can stop fasting.
Yeah. I know we need some topics for tomorrow, so I'll make sure I come in hot with that tomorrow with my test results.
We'll come in with your test results and Ranj's bubble gut.
I hope it's something bad.
No, Ranj.
Well, I mean, something that's got to be figured out.
Yeah.
You know?
No.
Not serious, but something to talk about.
Yeah.
Bring us something to talk about, buddy.
How about an image?
Great radio.
Bring us an ultrasound image. Ooh,
Look at
what
this,
is that?
everybody.
That's my insides.
Guys, gals,
What?
friends, thank you for being here today. Not you.
No.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for calling. Thanks for texting and being a part of the show. We're back tomorrow at 9 a.m. make sure that you get the Odyssey app. You can listen to the show, the podcast, Cardinals baseball on it. Everything that you want is all there, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you missed an interview or a full segment, full show, go find it. Coming up next, though, the Gas House Gang, Ackerman, Mikolas, and Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol is on the show to start things off in just a moment on KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Money, sponsored by Ethos.
Make sure that home improvement project is really worth it. Think about what you'll pay after you send that